right-hand side. Each elimination being worth a point. You see, once you get into that top 10, you'll have 8 placement points going through, all the way up to 14 for first. Then you can see 11th through 15th is 7, 16th through 20th is 6. It's the intervals of 5, then the intervals of 10, and of course, you get that first placement point after the first 25 players have gone down. So still, plenty of players who need to drop here, which generally is a little slower from EU. You'll typically see a little more take an early fight, as we have Rax and the Costa Rican Sebi in a battle over here.
Ooh, and Rax on the back foot already. Now this is that weather station just above Caddy. Sebi going in. The shots are going to go through. He's going to get the initial damage, and he's going to follow up with the AR. The crouch spam, and it's going to pay off for him. The elimination comes through, but now the question posed for Sebi is, can he go get Hit's loot? Can he go get the shockwave launcher and that charged shotgun, or will he settle for some of the vault loot?
And generally, that's the goal. It's to go through, get whatever you can from the weather station, resolve a fight there, and then head down and hopefully pick up the remnants of whatever happened at Caddy Corner. But now we're going to swing on over to Authority, where we have Letwick. We're in match number 1. He was able to steal away that mythic glider grapple gun and just kind of rotate out. But now, match number 2, you can see Hardfind over on the side, and Hardfind looking to set up a trap and a bait, and we've seen this before a number of times, particularly around that vault area where there are some areas you can't build. Players look to have just an immediate drop, but Letwick is set up really well in terms of his close quarters combat. Just having that epic SMG as well as the tactical shotgun and a legendary pistol means he has 3 really high rate of fire weapons that give him plenty of abilities to just spam and pressure Hardfind, who's going to be looking for an ambush here in a second. But right now, both players just farming up.
And it seems like they're respecting each other's areas of this Authority. They kind of know, hey, he's going to be over here. I can tell by how he's looted. I know Letwick's going to be in this side because I know how he looted from Hardfind's perspective. But what concerning about this is the players that are around. Carrot is there as well. You got 2 other players on the side. But Letwick is playing this very well. He's hitting some things, and then he's standing still. Because that's how the henchmen act. If they walk around, sometimes they'll hit stuff that's in their way, and then they'll stand still as you see one moving there. On the other side, we've got Wolfies, who's in a fight against some Marauders. Hopefully he's able to get out of those. The Marauders are very, very potent. They shoot you, they throw things at you, and they just will try to eliminate you at all costs. And they've got very, very good aim, especially with that hunting rifle there in the inventory of the Deadeye Marauder. Wolfies is pretty low, but he's got Ardent pretty low as well, 150 HP. Now the Marauders are coming in here. The third party this fight. Sometimes the third party does not always have to be an actual player. It can be the AI. This is really good for Wolfies. He's allowing the Marauders to go after this player and go after him for him and get the initial damage. But if he goes in, he's got to be careful. He can't look to go in right away with all these Marauders around. If he doesn't do any damage to him, they're going to be very, very, very hard to build through and walk through. As you see, the builds are going to get broken. This is bad for Wolfies. He needs to get rid of the Marauders. The shots are coming in, down to 11 HP. He's only got 2 builds remaining. Launchpad placed. He can't build anymore. Got a player right there in front of him. Sniper shot going to come out, and it does. But he goes down to a Marauder.
Vato getting picked off there, but the Marauders catching Wolfies out. No builds, no natural cover nearby. Ardent soaking most of the aggression. Him opting to go down. Ardent will clean up all of that. So good heads-up plays by Wolfies to pick up the snipe, but the Marauders ultimately enacting their revenge there. And it can be so difficult when you get caught out by them, particularly in the open. The builds that will target those and will try and take them out. You're definitely able to kind of ditch them and get rid of aggro when you're around some of the more natural cover on the map, those houses, the bridges, and the stuff that are nearby. But Vato not going to be happy about that. Was trying to get a little bit of a third-party tag there, and Wolfie's punishing him right before he goes down. He says, hey, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me, and will also deny a key elimination point that could have gone over to Ardent. So ultimately, he's going to be upset his game is over, but at least he was able to pick up a little bit. Is now back on board here with Flois, and as we can see, he's used to fast starts, placing first with 5 elims in game 1 of Heats as well. So let's see if he can turn this confidence into something more, as he is over on the northeast side of the zone with plenty of players around him. However, he has priority on the rotation, but not a ton of materials to really do it. You don't want to be forced to burn those metal and the brick here. We refer to those as the hard materials because once they get built up, they provide that much more defense for you. However, just they're so much harder to get naturally as you move through the map that Flo is finding Cammy there, and you can see immediately he's going to head over there because he's like, hey, I need those mats. I need those refreshers. When we talk about refresher in the term, this is it because that's going to be refreshing for him.
What a shot and a heads-up play by Flores. He desperately needed that, as well as this ammo was pretty low, too. At least 74 AR. That's not enough going into an in-game competitive Fortnite game. You definitely want to have a little bit more like Noah Riley here. Again, picked off Mr. Savage and now has the loot to show for it. The yacht coming in clutch with this loot. He's got this player down, though, with those tags, but the big shield going to be popped there. Now Noah has to be careful. He wants to go aggressive. His instinct is to push in with that crash pad and get the aggressive play, but that player back up to full HP. He's got to be careful. Shots go through the edit. Not going to connect on the shots there. Noah over the top. Shots come through. A 71 tag there for Noah. And now he's going in. Crash pad in. It doesn't matter, though. The crash pad is actually going to send him away. He's got to keep the pressure up to keep this player from popping any shields. And he's got the player back and forth, up and down, up and down. He's got the crash pad. He's going in. Shots are going to come through. The player puts the stare over the top of his head. And another good tag there. But Noah's not able to find him. Noah's not able to finish him off. This player continuously layer changing, going up and down in between the builds. And Hydro was just trying to run for their life.
Hydro trying to put as much distance as possible, and unfortunately going to go down there. Good job for Noah Riley on the chase. We talk about how important it is to resolve fights, particularly because you don't want that opponent burning those resources, because when you do take them down, they'll drop them there, and you want to get as much as possible. You can see Noah picking up all of the minis there. He's back up to 6. Good job, still has 4 crash pads. And one thing you'll note in particular when you're looking at these mid-game fights and what you should be keeping an eye on. Anytime a player has crash pads, that will enable them to push into boxes. You've seen it in 2 different ways, both from the top down, where they throw it against one of those cones because it lets them fall in. And then a perfect example, thank you, Ross Orange, for showing it right there, winning the fight against Hardfind very closely with 6 HP. That's the horizontal crash pad where you line yourself up on the corner of the walls, you throw it against that corner, and it'll end up landing right behind you, and it pushes you forward into the box, but it won't affect the other player. So it allows you to line up your shot ahead of time, and most times it'll also put you behind them, so they're not able to play defensively, as Orange trying to play defensively here, but Bafo just comes in and says, hey, you didn't have enough time to reset and get your shields up. I will take all that loot. Thank you very much.
And that's the dangers of taking a mid-game fight, is that if you take any damage, you're going to get third-party. Players are going to recognize that shield crack sound, and they're going to move in. But on the other hand, look at Ledwick. He took that fight, got out, and now is on the move. But Carrot is setting up an ambush for the shots coming through. Ledwick has been cracked. Look at the box separation that he just did there from Carrot. Going to tie him time to pass him, and he's the stair with the top is not his. He does get a nice layer change coming out and above, but he doesn't have enough time to pop the big shield. He's just looking to try to pop another mini, and he does get it off. And now he's looking for a shot. He needs to put the pressure back onto Carrot, because if not, then he's just going to keep running around, and Carrot's finally going to be able to get a shot on him. And Carrot decides, you know what? Not worth my time, not worth my materials, not worth my HP. I'm going to disengage.
I'm 50-50 on that. It felt like if Carrot had kind of kept pressing, he might have been able to pick up Letwick, particularly because, look at Letwick there, only 20 total builds coming out, but that also means if you are able to take him down, you're not going to necessarily get that much back. You'd only get the 35 total, and it's really not going to be that beneficial unless you're able to rotate cleanly off of it. Both have the crash pads, but now you can see fight going on here between Diablo and NXS Z Andy. Zandy on the back foot here, and Diablo trying to push forward somebody we've seen had the capability of playing aggressively. He is above that Storm Surge threshold, so just trying to hunt this player and doing a good job of keeping Zandy on the back foot. Does get the cone replaced, owns both, edits back under. Zandy able to replace that stay there, so Diablo just going to reset for a second, make sure he's still back up at near that 100-100 threshold, and then Zandy going to go down. So good job making sure he picked that one up. Zandy was below that Storm Surge threshold. Diablo will see that coming through. The Storm Surge will take that over. So that's what we talk about right now. You can see on the right-hand side, Diablo is currently 130 damage above. Zandy was below, which means he takes that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And it also signals to Diablo, hey, I can just tag this guy up and then wait, because any damage he does to that player, as long as they go down within a minute, he will still get credit for that elimination. He will still get the point. Then he can go over and safely pick up that loot.
That is another aspect of competitive Fortnite that everyone has to think about. That Storm Surge, it plays a factor into so many of these players' games. Sometimes they forget about it because they're pumping, they're rolling, they got their mats, they got their ammo, they got their builds, they're in zone. And then they're like, wait, I didn't tag anybody this game. I got to look for a tag. Frenzy Fishy on the other side above, and a good amount above. If you're about 100 to 150 above, you're looking at a good spot. As shots come through, he's going to take advantage and find swaps with one AR shot. That is what you needed. We saw Thomas H. do that in the first game. Just find any sort of elimination that you can, far away or up close. Don't even have to risk yourself getting tagged up for it. Beautiful elimination.
Yeah, but you notice how he's doing that behind a cone and editing a single wall. That's to avoid all of those hunting rifle headshots that we've seen come out time and time again. You don't want to get a game ender looking for some of those tags to make sure you're safe. But that being said, when we talk about tags and going through, that's generally meaning you're looking for long-range shots, not with the intention of actually trying to eliminate the opponent, but just doing some damage so you're not threatened by the Storm Surge, as Flois ends Froggy and puts a prime example of why you need a cone in a window and to limit the number of angles you have, because so many of these top-level players will be carrying those weapons, particularly in EU, that is known for their snipes and hitting their shots. Well done from the game number 1 winner, who's continuing to roll with the momentum here. Boxed up next to Ardit, passive over the side, as we're transitioning now into that mid-game kind of territory, as players are starting to get closer and looking for priority in terms of zone number 4.
What an elimination. He needed it too. He only had 2 hunting rifle shots. That first shot needed to hit. He didn't really have a chance to follow up if it didn't. Very heads-up play by Flois. First place, taking down second place. That is, hey, that's pretty good for your mentality. Even if he goes down here and be like, hey, I took out my competition, so I know I'm pretty secure there. But we're still pretty early on into the game, so you can't really do much with it.
And it's important to note when they stress during the top of show how every single interaction matters. Right there, Flois eliminating his direct competition right now, the player who is closest to him, who's able to pressure up. That means if he's able to build up a lead now, it's going to be that much more substantial, because effectively he's eliminated one of the players who can threaten him the most, as now we're on board here with ADN. We saw him have an amazing run yesterday, pushing in. Right there, you can see the Dorito edit being taken down, and that's such a good push. Fastroki was looking to set up a crash pad there with that edited cone in his box, but ADN dropped in and then occupied the space, stuck to the AR, and then just used the weapon to close it out. Well done getting a key pick there in a mid-circle.
And he desperately needed his mats were not looking good. Still are not looking good as well. So he's going to have to find another impact elimination along the way, as we're on board here with Ardit. Again, mats are not looking good. Now, there is a player's loot there in front of him that he more likely got the elim from. He's not actually prioritizing picking it up right now. It seems like he's just looking to build and then go for the loot. Mr. X is nearby. Benji's nearby as well. Hardest in an awkward spot. We've got Scram in this game here as well. Handy, passive, slick. A lot of players still alive. 61. When we talk about Storm Surges, this is a threshold where it's 50. 11 players need to go down. Darda makes a heads-up play to get a box, and Crashpad's going to come through, but that's bad for him. Unless he hits the shot. Shots come through, and he does. Maestro going to go down the aggressive play, not going to be rewarded. And Ardit will be rewarded for his passiveness.
Yeah, and you can see the reason why so many players are fighting right now, both that Storm Surge and trying to get priority. We talk about 4th zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone is looking to box up and stake their claim on as much real estate as possible for when that half-in, half-out reveals. You don't want to be sharing a spot next to somebody as you go to rotate, and they're looking to clear out the players nearby as Ardit picks up Flois there. So 1 and 2 are down. That's going to open up the leaderboard. Tons of players will have an opportunity to charge up. Eyes are now on Hen and whether or not he can kind of extend his lead out there, as Ardit also picks up Lechi. Mongrel getting scout there in a brilliant job, because he's now cleared out all the players on this tarp in that next, the half-in, half-out, the one before moving is pulling directly over to this cluster of players. So Tayson, Benji, Keelix, Wyzip, Mr. X will all be over there sharing the half in, half out with Ardit. They all have priority on everyone else who's rotating into the zone. So they're going to be fighting among themselves to make sure they're safe and not going to get ambushed, and then swap over to what Tayson's doing now and looking to catch the players, burning their rotation, burning launch pads and crash pads, trying to get into this zone.
And this is very lucky for Tayson because, again, express the amount of builds in the inventory. He only had 54. That is not where you want to be for this endgame. So he has to find an elimination to get to these moving zones effectively. He does have the 6 crash pad, but when you start to use those crash pads, you start wasting those builds as you box up, and he needs to find somebody. As shots come through, he's not going to be able to beam people out of the air just yet, as we do see Nebby unfortunately falling, but he did get that top 50 placement threshold, which is what a lot of people are playing, that consistency. Hey, at least I went down inside of that. Tayson, however, is looking to get aggressive, and I believe that's on, I think this is Benji. I'm 97% sure Benji is right nearby. If Benji makes the wrong edit, he goes into a box that's not his. Tayson is going to go aggressive. You see the big shoulder's going to be popped. Edit's going to come through. No crash pad in. Shots coming through. And Benji's going to go down. Tayson going to take him down.
You called it. He was looking for it, waiting for Benji. He heard him trying to set up and get some space, knew he was pressured around the side. The horizontal crash pad entrance puts him behind Benji, cleans it up with the tactical shotgun, and well done. And Hen, the third place player on the leaderboard before the last game, going on the high ground right now, has priority position with Enos and Mongrel just below him. Also Floki on the same ground, but we're going to hop on over to the Become Legends player. He's been playing so well recently, cleaning up the Cash Cup on his birthday. Had a phenomenal performance yesterday to also guarantee him spot here, and he has priority on this next zone. What that means is he's the closest to where the safe zone has to go past. So as it funnels and everyone else rotates, they have to go past Hen. You do not get to past Hen, and you notice he's built so much space around him so he can't be shot at in return. All of these shots are completely safe, so anything he's able to convert on will turn into points for him here, as another placement point does take over. Now he's not shooting through that wall. That is just one of the graphical issues with the replay. He's picking up tags, but now you can see setting up a crash pad, going to use it to go on the rotation late, and he picked up a key elimination onto Wyzip there, as we have our top 35.
And it's such a key elimination because he gets Jules' glider gun, and now he's got free rotation everywhere. He could win this game based off that elimination. It was such an impact elimination, but he's being a little bit too greedy on that zone. He did get tagged up, but he's still good. Rotation coming in. We do see Safik going down, and rotation X Squeeze went down as well. So a lot of the big names are out of this game, but Hand looking to keep his stream alive and take down one player who landed right on top of him. That was a very, very heads-up elimination onto Pablo, but he's not that healthy. He has those minis in his inventory, about 126 effective HP. He needs to find another one.
He needs to find the outside. He can't be in this cluster. It's really weird to take the grapple gun and then immediately go into the middle because you don't really have the ability to utilize it, and that's what we're looking for, getting towards the outside of the zone so he has more options there. Anas, teammate up on the high ground there, but this is the solos competition, just playing for the same org. You have Gamers Origin, Deceptos there on the middle as we tick over top 25. Another point going through. Anas running through the high ground. Reason still in the match, and you can see Deceptos picks up Ardit there as top 20 ticks over. Another point going through, and right as I say his name, Reason ends up going down. This is looking like a Become Legends top 15 right now, as they have 3 or 4 players still up, but Deceptos trying to find the space, finding a good job, tarping his way through and making sure that he owns all of the builds on this level as we close in on top 15. Bad Sniper missing out on a key placement point, and Deceptos looking to try and find a pick on this Crash Pad player, doing a good job to deny the rotation, finds a tag, but not able to necessarily convert it. So many shots, but no elimination coming through, and he has to find that. That's such a key pickup. Inside the top 15 we go. Can he chase down this player? And he finally gets it. That snipe going down, but Hen is still up, picking up Orion as we get into our top 10.
Deceptos is going to have to make a play as it's going up a little bit of an incline. You see it. The old builds are there as well. Hen is going to fall. Slick going to fall in tandem. Top 10 placement points being missed out by both of them. That's a huge boost as well. Deceptos able to hold on. There's a player on the other side. Shots are coming through. He's getting the tags, and he does. Frenzy Fishy is going to go down. Deceptos needs to get out of zone, though. He is sitting and ticking. He doesn't have any floppers. He's looking to get in, and he does, but a shot comes through. Floki going to be the one to take him down, and now 2 eliminations here for Floki. The player right on top of him. He's got to be careful. Shots go through. Back into zone goes Floki. Picking down very, very low. Now inside his zone, he's good to go, but this is looking really, really rough. He doesn't have floppers. Mr. X is going to go down. Stacy going to be the one to do it. He's still trying to be popped there. And look at Anas just Tyro whopping all the way up top. He's just walking over old builds. I don't know how many builds he's got left, but he may be able to win this just solely based on the fact that's going over old builds.
And the old builds giving him priority. That moving zone, we talked about it. It just randomly pulls a distance back away, which means you can continue your rotation. And on top of having the old builds, his saving grace has the mythic loadout as well. So this is so big for him as we move into the top 5. 4 players left, but Anas has complete control over this lobby. You can see Tayson as well in the middle. Scramguard and Snazy are going to round out your top 4. Who will finish it off? Will Anas continue the run of the caddy corner loot, proving it out, or can somebody from the low ground shut him down as Tayson picks up Scramguard? So each elimination, each placement here, an additional point as Tayson ends Snazy right there. But the Shockwave Launcher comes out right away and knocks him over to the zone. And Anas does get tagged, but he's able to pop the flop in the zone and then gets the follow-up tag with 6 HP to spare. Become Legends Anas from the high ground. 4 eliminations in the Victory Royale, taking game number 2.
The flop was what he needed to pop, and he did do just that. The Victory Royale going to be nice. I think maybe able to move into first place after that game just on the number of points and the eliminations, but we're definitely going to need the analysts to break that one down, so we're going to send it right over to them here in a moment.
Thank you guys so much. Great cast here in game number 2 of Europe. Anas finding the Victory Royale there. Mad props to him. Now, here's the thing, though. Tayson, another big name we're used to seeing. We keep talking about the quality of players. This is someone who is coming in strong. Ends that game in 5 eliminations. Had he picked up that VR, that 4-point swing would have actually moved him higher up the leaderboard. And we'll see that as we take a look at the standings and look at who is currently holding down that number 1 spot.
Usually who ends up winning the game is always at first. That is the same story here right now. BL Anas all the way up top. Victory Royale, 7 elims, 28 points. But what happened that game was a bunch of eliminations from top players, changing the standings from 2nd all the way to 10th.
And there's BL hand in 2nd there. Somebody definitely to keep an eye on because he placed 4th in the first game. Not necessarily the biggest boost in points this game. Other names too, Deciptos, who's the king of placing 5th place. The French legend who came out there in the Invitational starting to rise up. But then Tayson, Zeke, you mentioned him. Getting that 2nd place will boost him way up, but he could have done more. Reason still stays around the 9th place mark, but still improves at least in this game.
And there, we move on over Letwick, Scramguard, Bad Sniper, Kinzel, Mongrel, Carrot. I mean, look at all these names. Thomas HD, Floki, Frenzy Fishy. There's so much heat coming off of the grand finals right now. Every single person could walk away the victor, and especially when we're this tight, and we still have 4 games left to go, boys. Anything could still happen. There's all these guys at the top making these power moves right now.
You're saying look at the names. I'm looking at the points, too. You're mentioning that it's tight. It's like a 2-point difference between everyone. They are neck and neck. Become Legend Slicks is here, too. Twain's, Ardits. Like, all these guys are playing so well, but they're playing well while others are, too. And no one can really break away. Benji, who we're used to seeing in the top 10, at 24th. And from what I'm seeing, he's having good games still. It's not enough, though, for that number 1 spot.
It's kind of another kind of slow start for Benji, which I think some people are maybe starting to get a little used to. He always rises at the top, but that might be a sign that it's back to, you know, the old Benji of Grand Finals, the one who does get good performances and is in the top 10, top 15, very solid out of 100 players, but not quite that win that he's looking for.
And together, guys, we got to talk about it. More of these powerful plays coming out of these impact players, making what they need to happen, really manifesting this win right here, right now.
Yeah, Grand Finals is all about power, and it comes in many different forms. We're starting off with how power struggles on early games off-spawn fights, and Noah Riley, Mr. Savage, they had a big battle down. Noah showed that he was more powerful.
And it's all because Benji scares Noah into going somewhere else, but into somebody who might end up struggling because of it. Benji, though, saw a sign of weakness, and because of that, he will pounce, try to grab more space. Kiriachi looking in the background, and Benji knows, and he will hunt. This is one of the best players at fighting in the early and mid game, and Benji is not scared whatsoever.
Yeah, power vacuum basically here over at Slurpy Swamp, and Benji gets in the box with style, breaks through, hits a big shot, and shows his power afterwards as well.
And is that show of power, is that show of confidence something that we're used to seeing out of Benji? I say yes, but it might be overconfidence as he pushes a fight against one of the best players in the world. Now we're switching over to Flois, and for him, it's a shift.
Yeah, for him, he was holding power in game number 1, continues to, dropping down Froggy, who was in second place on the leaderboards at the time, but holding power sometimes comes with a cost. He loses it over to Advise, and we see one of our new players who are in that second place slot.
Second place for Hen after a very good game number 1, and follows it up with a pretty decent game number 2, a 10th place for him, but a couple of elims to boot. And that will put him where he needs to be if he wants to grab that crown at the end of the day, the ultimate sign of power. He falls in 11th, but that's at least solid enough.
Yeah, and this is where power starts for a lot of players in this game. It was Anas who ends up winning, who had Caddy Corner and the Mythic Loot as well. The Shockwave Launcher, Kit's Charge Shotgun too, and he just made power become his tool in this endgame. He became Legend incarnate, literally just personifying the organization he's on and using this entire endgame as a playground, bouncing people up, shooting them down afterwards. Look at that two-piece right there. Anas looks so dynamic, and yes, we saw Flois with the hunting rifle. We saw him with the charge shotgun last time, but for me, it was Anas's gameplay, his creativity that really separated him from the pack and showed us his use of power.
And Anas, that's kind of what we were talking about at Caddy Corner last time. We saw Thomas there for a brief moment, but this time it goes down. Kit spawns down at the gas station, and that's where Anas is lurking. He had a good game last time in 10th place, but if you want to become a legend at the end of the day, if you want to solidify yourselves among the great, immortalize yourself, you need to have games like that. And Anas and Hen, both at the top of the leaderboards, org mates, and they're standing strong.
Both of these guys are definitely looking to break away. I mean, Anas is ahead of the game, 28 points, but Shy, is that going to hold?
Didn't hold in game number 1 with Flois. I feel like when Anas gets that top slot, he holds it completely, especially at Caddy Corner. So I feel like, yes, that's my call.
I like it. Quick and concise. With that being said, guys, let's throw it into game number 3 here in EU of the FNCS Grand Finals. Casters, we're sending it back your way to get into the action.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala. Insightful as always, and everyone is looking to become a legend, but right now the Become Legends players occupying first and second. And if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Sundown, joined here by the fantastic, as always, Clay Stelling. This is match number 3, the halfway point of the EU FNCS Solos Grand Final. And if you're watching at Party Royale and you just dropped in, hit one of those telephone booths, the changing stations. Make sure you get your favorite outfit on, then head on over to the main stage, catch the action out, and you can see where everyone's dropping right now.
And if you notice, the yacht only has 1 player on it, so I'm interested to see who that player is. Is it Savage? Is it Noah Riley, who came out on top? And of course, who's going to come out of Caddy Corner on top? That is always a question in all of these players' minds.
Right now you can see cutting over the top of the lake, but switching over to Anas, who's landing over towards the weather station side on Caddy. You can see looking to figure out if he's going to be able to go through, pick up any amount of that loot, drop down into this area, see what's going on. As of right now, doesn't look like he's actually going to have a contestant in, but you can see also a number of players off and over just to the southwest of him. So right now, first shot coming out, we talked about those early hunting rifle tags, but not quite going to find it again. Anas, game number 2 winner, current first place right now.
And he's in a very good spot to keep that first place, but Hen right behind him. We've got to keep our eye on that elimination feed for that come up as well. If Hen, only 3 points behind, is able to make a play, to start to make the ground up. Is Vadil going to get some nice shots there? The Chug Splashes, though, are going to do that player up. The nice edit is going to drop the player down. The edit around as well. He's got him boxed up, but the fish is going to escape as Vadil looking to crash pad on in, using the jump there. He's actually not going to go in. He's going to take the wall and the cone up top. And that was so smart to outplay Advise there.
Well done picking up Advise there. We talked about kind of the different types of crash pads and then the variations you're able to use. Him jumping up prevented him from falling in. So then when Advise went to exit, the situation got picked up, and now over to Slurpy Swamp. We watched this fight happen last time. Benji aggressively pushed Kiriachi, saying, no splitting going on here. This is my side. But Kiriachi now looking to be the predator instead of the prey and closing in on Benji as he's hitting these slurp barrels. So wants to kind of resolve this beforehand. And now box to box, how do two of the best players in the world close out this box fight? Do they look to take each other on, or are they just kind of trying to disengage the situation? Right now Benji's saying, hey, I need more mats if we're going to go toe to toe.
He disengaged perfectly, got up, and is out. I also want to point out 35 of the current players also competed in the FNCS Invitational Finals. So they've been here before. They've been in this grand finals. They know what to do, especially these two players on the screen right now. As Kiriachi is going to take some damage there from Benji, who is keeping that pressure up with that rare tactical shotgun, and now looking to find a creative way inside. Kiriachi actually went up and around the shots going through, exchanging high ground and exchanging shots. As Benji takes a nice tag there on the Kiriachi. He still hasn't yet to take any damage himself. Kiriachi is still pushing. This is exactly what we expect from him. And Benji baiting him to drop down. And Kiriachi was ready. The back and forth going in favor of Benji right now. Kiriachi keeping the pressure up. Benji going to get tagged up a lot there because he couldn't build the floor. He's trying to pickaxe for that code as the edits come through. Benji going through old builds. This is really good. But once you reset that metal, it's very, very weak and it's easy to hit. But he's put some distance in between him, Kiriachi, and Domenia Snipe.
I was about to say, Domenia Snipe, hearing the action going on, wants to take a peek inside, but he very well knows who's there, and I'm not sure you want to jump on into that pond. Don't want to get boxed like a fish between those two. It's more like getting boxed between two sharks. A rock at a hard place. You pick which one and who's who, because Benji, right now, just again, looks like he's done enough to fend off Kiriachi. You say, how long are we going to do this for? How long are we going to burn mats and just sit here and force each other back? Because both of these players are good enough to hold the other off, or at least make them pay for it if you don't get that initial ambush off of the start, which is why you now see Kiriachi kind of backing up a little bit, making sure he gets some mats before heading back in towards Benji again, looking to potentially respark this engagement.
And I'm not surprised from Kiriachi. He is very, very aggressive, but we'll have to see if that turns out in any of their favors as Seventor now being aggressive onto Diablo. Diablo going to get the initial shots there, and now Seventor can disengage if they want to, but on the edge of zone, really hard to disengage because you're trying to run away, then you're just going to get shot in the back, and it's just unfortunate there. So box to box, diagonal to diagonal, Diablo and Seventor looking to do a little peanut butter edit, look to get that jump shot there. Seventor looking to get any sort of wall take back, and he does, but Diablo ready for it. The shot comes through, the quick reset there, going to get the tag in favor of Seventor, but still not as much HP there as Diablo. His shots are still coming through. He does pop a mini. Continued back and forth over these peanut butter edits. That's that triangle edit that you see as he goes in. He goes aggressive with that crash pad, but Diablo was ready for it. Did you see how many edits he had, how many space he had in between him and Seventor? He was predicting that perfectly, but Seventor's ready for the edit. He's ready for Diablo hopping up, and he said, you know what? I'll bait the heal out, but I'm going to get that elimination.
Yeah, and a really good job from Seventor there, baiting Diablo into something that he had owned and then committed him to the fight, caught him with the builds out, and then following up with the tactical shotgun. And it's really fruitful to resolve that fight because there was a player boxed up right on the edge of zone who would have been able to rain shots down. And again, if you are just joining that, there's the format on the right-hand side. You can see first round of placement points coming through, top 75, next one at top 50. Then it's every 10 players to fall until we reach top 25. Then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So definitely want to be making those end games, but also 1 point per each elimination, as Carrot will pick up Phoenix there. Will also get a point, and that's his second of a match.
And he may have taken coolest out of his name, but right now he's the coolest of the authority, picking that elimination up. He's been very, very good. He actually, I believe, one of the players that came through the open track of the FNCS Invitationals. That happened a couple months ago, but still maintaining prowess over the authority here. He was here back when it was the agency, so Dominant performance from Carrot. He's also got the zone there as well. You see him already building up and refarming. In Misty Meadows, however, Ardent looking to set up an ambush like we've talked about, hiding in this little upgrade room. He can catch anybody waiting to upgrade their loot. He's got a great charge to do it with a legendary at that. And look, somebody is taking the bait. They are coming into the house. The question is, will they open it? He set a trap up perfectly. He set a trap up, but he put a wall, Griff. Put a wall there. The peppers, the shields, everything being popped there. Ardent, though, not going to be able to spring the trap as Griff was ready for it, and Griff turns the tide.
Sometimes you set the trap and the bait, but turns out you are the bait and you don't reel in what you want. That's what we talked about. He was looking for a slurp fish and instead pulled one of the loot sharks there. Griff turning it around after a rough game number 2, getting eliminated pretty much basically off drop. Ardent trying to spring a little bit of an ambush there, but instead going down. So good job on Griff. And we saw also had a very, very, very impressive run in order to make the qualifier here, but now on board with E11's Tayson, a player who we saw be super successful in the heats yesterday. The problem is he hasn't necessarily really converted it today. We've consistently seen him towards the top. He was actually 7th coming in, so not doing too bad today, but probably also a little bit outside in terms of the placement that he would be wanting, averaging a top 27 placement and 5 elims total across the 2 games.
And I think that may be due to the amount of loot that he's getting. He is in Steamy with 2 other players. It's really, really hard to find all that loot. And you see it in his inventory right now. He does have crash pads, but that common AR is not going to net you a lot of eliminations. He's going to have to find a way to upgrade that, whether that be through an impact elimination or finding one naturally, as it seems like this is the open side of zone, and that meaning there's not that many people all around him. He's got a little space to work with there. Someone who doesn't have that much space is there's a lot of players nearby. Bad Sniper. He does have 15 points, a decent first couple of games, but not where he wants to be. There is a player nearby. He's got to be careful with the snipe, and if you don't have it, he's going to turn the beams back onto him, but not going to hit it. He is only 22 above Storm Surge, and that is nowhere near safe, as you see it already ticking down to 19.
Yeah, and that Storm Surge threshold on the right side of your screen there. The number for zone number 3 is 70, so currently 17 players have to go down. Bad Sniper will be starting to look for tags here, but also doesn't necessarily want to overbuild himself too much because he doesn't have a ton of materials and he is out in the open. So if he has a lot of players who opt to end up spamming towards him, it can be difficult. And he's not in the safe zone yet, and now only 4 above. You talked about how kind of that threshold just keeps on ticking. So he's trying to trade some tags out, get himself above. We have Ovation Arion and Smudge closing in on him, as well as 2 players already in the zone and coming back, and this is going to be key. And he got it! Huge tags in the Elim coming on to Meta Shrimsy. Super unfortunate, using the crash pads desperately trying to get in zone, but even with those tags, only 62 above.
And you can tell he's not happy with it. He's already looking to move into zone and set up for another couple tags because he's going to need it. The 62 above just turned to 60 above, and then it's going to turn to 52 above. And you're going to start trickling down that leaderboard as everybody near you looks to get eliminations. But Bad Sniper maybe looking to set up an ambush here onto Kezix. Will be a snipe nearby Skype there, as well as a sniper shot is going to ring there. Not actually going to connect onto anybody, but Snipe looking to be aggressive on his tags. Again, is above Storm Surge, but not by much, as we see Lechy take down Supremacy's Clement there. Snipe, though, has a very good position in zone. He can rotate to his right or his northeast there to really make a play on that side of zone. His shots are going to come through. He heard that sniper shot come through, and that player got tagged up by everybody, and Ophacia's Arion is going to fall down.
To a single shot going through there, and we talk about it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it's sometimes worth just throwing the AR bullets over, both for Storm Surge tags, but you might get a little bit of that RNG on your side and pick up the elimination. Somebody else did most of the work, the hunting rifle shot coming through, but he'll be the benefactor there as Kinzel now is going to put some pressure here onto Flopper Michael. Again, a number of players still under that Storm Surge tag, so you can expect the passive players to push through. Storm Surge will impact the players who have done the least amount of damage to opponents, but Flopper Michael punishing Kinzel there, who was under that pressure, as 4 more players will need to go down before it turns off. Controller 007 picks up Maestro. Gambit's Moaka also goes down, but you can see Flopper Michael also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday. Can he set up another one here and end up converting, as now we're going to swing on over to Anas, get a nice little replay, see what's going on here. Chaining the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player and catching him over on the side. Spen, what are you doing? Cover your back, man. You can't be doing that on the edge of the zone. But Anas pushing himself further out towards the lead. Don't forget, he was in first place with 28 points, now sitting on 30, courtesy of the elimination and the first placement threshold.
Very great play from Anas to realize that he was being ambushed here as well. Very quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy looking to be aggressive and looking to push. The shots are still coming through. Anas continues his dominant solo performance. He plays 16 in the Solos FNCS Invitational and 9th in DreamHack. And he's recently been turning online, you know, in these last couple of months. It's been really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend, especially after being picked up by that organization. With this disengage, though, it nets him a lot. He's able to refarm some of this metal as well if he wanted to hit that fence there. Refarm a lot of this wood as well. Benji picking up an elimination is good for him. But Anas, while he was in a good spot, now he's getting pinched by these players.
And I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that land and making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there, Bad Sniper, though, under pressure from Atlantis' Lecce, trying to get in the box. Bad Sniper disengaging, does have plenty of shields and floppers if he can make the space. However, now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone that as soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick zone. So Bad Sniper is going to have a lot of the pressure here in terms of having the chug splashes and having the floppers compared to Lecce. Don't know his loadout, but doubt he has as much heals as that, and going to be punished there. Yep, no additional white heals coming out, so the siphon really beneficial for Bad Sniper there, and he has a relatively clear path to the zone now. You can see on that bottom right-hand corner, only 1 or 2 players who are going to be in his way.
And that's always unfortunate, is getting eliminated in zone as you're just trying to rotate through. As Anas doing the same. He's got white heals, but it's only in bandages, and he is popping them this time, but he's got to be careful. This elimination will net him so much. It'll give them loot, and if that player has any white heals as well, it'll be so good. As Andy is staying more healthy than Anas, the zone, once it closes, like you said, 5-tick, and now it goes down. Shots are going through between each other, and Andy's got that flopper. He's going to be able just to outlive Anas here unless Anas makes a play, but no, Anas going down, and that's number 1 out of the game.
Anas being taken out there, the pressure from the storm, the 5-tick zone. Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into his stomach there. Also has the floppers and the bandages as well. So I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there and allowed the cabbages to tick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper, going to limit some of his mid-game and later game options there, but opting for safety is now swing on board with reason. Relatively solid performance, was in 9th coming into this game, currently sitting on 18 points, and has a decent loadout for the end game. However, a long rotation he's going to have to make here, Clay.
And he has no crash pads and only 1 pepper. He's going to have to get creative with it, whether it be third-partying this site. We did see Scram fall. Rezon just going to hop in, and that's going to be PCH, who is not expecting it. You have to reset those walls. You cannot afford to make those mistakes right now.
This is Grand Finals in Europe, the most played in region, arguably the most aggressive and most talented region as well. If you are able to convert on elimination, please do everything possible and make sure you're safe. It's all about covering yourself up afterward and allowing yourself to be in a position to continue on in the game, and Reason is so good at capitalizing on others' mistakes. Now notice, built up on the high ground, use those hard materials to make sure he's established and safe, but for Strokey, trying to encroach a little bit on this real estate, and that's the fights you're going to see. Reason opting to drop down and just return to his safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone. This is zone number 4, so priority positioning is going to be towards the outside. We're going to be keeping an eye on who ends up going towards high ground and then who is slaying out on that low ground.
Easy able to make it here. Another player able to make it into this end game is going to be Savage. And with that off-spawn elimination on the Noah Riley, I'm assuming with that elimination there, Noah Riley went down early. It's got to be Mr. Savage taking him down. But as you see, that is coming through. Nice and pickup there by Savage, but someone trying to capitalize on him. Shots coming through. He's going to pick up a double. Heatsy going to go down. Queasy going to go down. The pressure's not done yet. The crash pad's coming in, and the crash pad master, Mr. Savage, going to be able to pick some up there. And he's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive, but someone on top of him, going to be bad sniper there, trying to box right and box the box. Steady there as well. Savage really needs to make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old build will get him out for now. And what a phenomenal heads-up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players nearby you, and you take them out as well.
And Exqueezy picking up an elim there. I believe that was on the Keelix, but we have our top 50. So Storm Surge turning back off, second placement point going over. And don't forget, this is game number 3, so we're about to be at the midway point. This is a fantastic opportunity with a nos down for somebody else to unseat him and become that front runner. And we talk so much about momentum and whether or not you can hang on and whether or not you can get running. And Froggy, a player who thrives on momentum, finding a key elim there on the backside of the zone, using the launch pad, then getting in on the priority. Half in, half out, now closing in. After this, it will be all moving zones. So it's all about making sure you're safe, finding rotations, figuring out whether or not you're able to get to that next zone, and then trying to punish players around you who aren't doing it as good as you.
Lewick looking to capitalize on someone not paying attention to their wall. You see inside the cone, just sitting there waiting. He could crash pad in. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji. There's Hidden. He's going to fall as well. Hidden goes down. What a big elimination there. Another player near the top of the leaderboard going down. Safik falling as well. Lewick is dropping down, though. He knows there's players riding below him, and he wants a piece of the action because he's only got 53 builds. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo lacking as well. 5 shots with that charged shotgun is going to go through in an instant in this end game, so he has to pick up an elimination. He also does not have priority on rotation as it's pulling away from him. 4 crash pads in his inventory will allow him to rotate, but not as effectively as some of these other players, and he set this trap. He's waiting for this player to just make the wrong edit and go out, but I doubt that they're going to fall for it.
Well, he's waiting. He does have priority on the zone. There's a player right next to his box. I wasn't sure if that player was on the cone. He finds the 83 tag and then follows up right away. ADN going down in 41st, misses the placement point, so a huge pick going right there. Mr. Savage still in the lobby as well. We're into the moving circles. That's the late game. You're going to start seeing players burning utility, using all their builds, just trying to get to that next safe zone and avoid fire from their opponents. But you also have to watch out for those sharks and those aggressive players, the playmakers, and the ones who are going to be the ones driving the action as we're on board here with Dual Media Snipe currently below the threshold for the Storm Surge, but that should turn off shortly here. Only 7 players need to fall. Dual Media Snipe will add into it right now, pushing himself above by taking out Griff and potentially finding a nice little upgrade there in terms of his, yep, he will get the legendary shotgun in there as well. And we're closing in on top 30 as 7-Tor picks up Nate.
And with Snipe's inventory, he has 7 crash pads. This is what you want in this meta. You want to have as many crash pads as you can. As bad Sniper is going to be caught trying to take a shield. Mongo's in this game. Xweeze is in this game. Lewick is in this game as well. We have yet to see Savage go down. Flo is in this game here. Rifla as well. 2 eliminations, 79 builds. We'll see if he's going to be able to get any more.
Deceptos is also still up. We saw him there on the wide. That was the player who was in 3rd. He should be able to push up as every 5 players will be a placement point. Reason gets ticked over by Frenzy Fishy. Orange takes out Cartoon. 7-Tor gets Sebi, closing in on top 20. That's another point going over as now Rifla looking to add his name to that list of the Become Legends players pushing their way up the leaderboard. But Deceptos picks up Wanloss and Savage picks up Z Andy. So still a who's who of top players left, but that's everyone in the lobby as Thomas HC gets another one. Mongrel picks up an Elam and Rifla ends Mr. X's run. Skype also getting orange. 2 more players will need to drop before we close in on that top 10 as 7-Tor also gets Mongrel. But the question is, who's on the high ground and is there caddy loot? And right as I say that, Thomas HD with that mythic shockwave launcher. Can we make it? 3 out of 3. Rifla though, bottom right hand corner of your screen. Dual Media Snipe, top right hand. 5 Elams for Snipe, 3 for Rifla. Thomas on the high ground and the wide on your left.
And Thomas using it so well, but Rifla is doing just as well as he's being aggressive there on to players that leave. That's going to be a squeeze in the box as he is going to get the elimination there. Thomas may have the high ground right now, but Rifla is putting on a show. Snipe as well, 5 eliminations. Lewick going to get taken down there by Fadil. I'm going to take down another one as they're going up the mountain. He's reloading that shotgun because he's going to need it as crash pads going through. 6 eliminations there for him, 4 for Rifla in the bottom right. Thomas still on the high ground. We're going up a mountain. Keen needs to get up. So does Skype, very low HP. Skype's out of builds as well. He's more likely going to tick over to the zone as well as Keen. Rifla, very, very healthy. Crash pad up for high ground. Thomas HD going to take it for now. Don't mean to snipe, though, being aggressive. He's going for it. He does not secure it. Thomas HD in zone, not as healthy as Dual Media Snipe now. Rifle with the RPG, trying to throw it down. Shots coming on through. Chaos. Kane gonna go down. Sky gonna be the one to do it, so he stayed on through the mountain. The HP was enough, but Snipe with 6 eliminations, player right on the edge of his box. He's gonna take down Sky, and now Snipe versus Thomas versus Rifla. There's RPG's gonna go through. You may have Kid Shockwave Launcher, but I've got a shotgun for you, says Rifla, as he takes him down. 5 eliminations. Rifla versus Dual Media Snipe on the low ground. RPG, Kid Shockwave Launcher as well. He's got too many things to reload. Will it be enough? Will he be able to do it? Dual Media Snipe in a bad spot, though. Does he have floppers? Does he have anything to make it work? Does he have any builds? Shots go through. Does that build dropping down? Shockwave's not going to be a factor here. RPG going to be used. Rifle concerned on only using that. And I think this may be the key to picking up the victory royale. A lot of builds remaining here for him. This is the game. Snipe is running out. RPG going down. That should be the shot, and it is. He gets the tag, drops down, comes through, and shotgun for the victory royale.
And brilliant decision from Rifla, opting to use the actual rocket launcher instead of that mythic shockwave launcher because the zone pulled back over old builds. He needed to destroy them. If you're covered, you're not going to be able to get through. So rather than wasting the rocket ammo, uses the destructive potential, secures the victory royale, and he says to his org mates, it's not about you right now, it's about me. All seize this opportunity. 3 games down, 3 games left. Zeke, Bala, Shio, please let us know what's going on because this is so tense at the top. This is absurd.
It is absolutely tense at the top. I mean, EU is firing on all cylinders today, and it is an all-out battle at the top. We have to take a look at the standings. Now, we know coming into this game, Anas was holding that number 1 spot. But the question becomes, how many points has he racked up in that last game? And does he still hold that number 1 spot?
I think it's going to be a dead heat at the top. I mean, it's neck and neck for so many different people because we've seen this kind of bounce all around. Everybody wants to be involved in this race.
And Deceptos is the one who's all the way in the lead in first place, 32 points, 9 eliminations, and he's playing so well that he doesn't even need a victory royale.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. Flois is up there. He kind of had that first moment, that game 1 win. Anas will clap back. And then Rifla, it's kind of in order there, but all the players who won the games are literally tied up at 30 points. It's all about elims. There's even a further tie for Anas and Rifla.
Yeah, things are going so fast, even past that, from 6th to 10th. Rezon is still holding on to his spot. Froggy, who was 2nd, is now in 9th, but Thomas HD, Letwick, these legend status names are just doing everything they can. It is not enough to keep up with the top 5.
And Rifla is showing he belongs in that top 10, right? Coming off his first game, an 11th place with his 2 eliminations. Second game, 73rd place, and now the victory out with 6 eliminations. These are the swings we need to see if people want that number 1 spot.
And there are swings happening. There might not all be seen because you can see it. Vidil in 19th place. He just had a very significant game. Look at the elims for him. He's actually tied up with those players up at the top of the leaderboards in terms of elims. He just needs to convert on some of these other games to make it really count.
Yeah, everyone past the top 10 are still hungry, and if they can't make these end games, just look at the elims for everyone. Carrot, Squeeze, AR Baffo, they're past 5. They're fighting in that mid game, in the early game, doing whatever they can to get points and stay relevant after game 3 in this competition.
Guys, we are off to the races. We are halfway through this sprint, and we can see the finish line there. The question is, who will cross first?
The blocks are off. The starting blocks are completely off. These guys are off to the races, like you said. And we're kind of trying to see who's going to catch up. When we get to the finish line, we're basically halfway there. And at this point, just trying to extend the lead until we get towards those final games and start dashing towards the win.
You got to pace yourself, though, right? We've seen it in end games. We've seen it on the leaderboards. These guys who are coming up on top to start with are now not being able to hold on to the first place slot. And it's about first place, Zeke.
Man, there's only one Axe of Champions to go around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, as you mentioned, Ball, that we did miss out of this last game. You got to break it down for us, man.
That we do. There are so many things for these guys doing. It's kind of a freestyle on some attempts. Snipe for him. Long range, charge, shotgun shots on players like Bad Sniper, who started the day off so strong, but Snipe will start to rise. And there's another one. He's just looking through these small peak boxes, just the space in the end game to build up the box and get more of these. Every time you look out, there's so many people fighting to try to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned Vidil, who was very much alive in that last game, getting a record amount of 5 eliminations so far in his run in these grand finals. After that, still looking for more for everyone who was in this foot race. It was intense. They wanted to have a leg in the competition.
And we said it. Things that were missed. 7 Tor goes off on a spree, back-to-back-to-back elims, and he does it so well. There are so many people here in his lane, but for most of them, it's a false start in this endgame.
Yeah, he was sticking beside that Storm so much, looking for shots from box to box, had the AR to clear out walls. After that, got into boxes himself. If he couldn't get things from range, he was right up in your face and got elims on players like Mr. Savage. Moved past that, though, and still played a phenomenal game, ending somewhere near top 15.
But there's no signs of anybody lapping anyone else, except for maybe the Become Legends guys. There's so many of these names starting to push up towards the top, and look at that back-to-back. 2 players looking to lobby focus on the same person, and it works out for one, but then the player who he actually had taken a little bit from ends up getting put down. That was Snazy too.
Yeah, it was a rough run for Rifle here. Just look at all the things he had to overcome. Box to box while getting third party, still got the elimination down, got to hold down the wall, and the coolest RPG shot after this awesome elimination on the Thomas HD I've ever seen. Clay was saying it was hard to actually get to this reloads down, get these power weapons situated, but he shoots an RPG, catches himself with a waterfall, and then connects with a drop down charge pump. What a play.
What a shot at the end. That is ridiculous. We've seen that a number of times from the Caddy launcher players. Kit Shockwave launcher is so good, but in that case, he doesn't opt to use it at all, just relies on his pure instincts.
Dude, that's all it takes sometimes. Sundown likes to say it best. Some days you just have to make sure you can hit your shots better than someone else. And for Rifle, that's what we're seeing. He's like, hey, big time to make the moves. It's happening now. Now, guys, as the competition does heat up, we need to cool down. We have 3 games left before we make an FNCS champion. But with that being said, we're going to step away. When we return, we'll have the conclusion from Europe. See you guys in 5. Hello and welcome back to continued coverage of the FNCS Grand Finals. I'm your host Zeke, joining us here on the desk as analyst. We got Shyway, we got Ball at TW. Gentlemen, we are halfway through the leg of this race, and these last 3 games are going to dictate who walks away as an FNCS champion. We're just going to get back into it because we have games on deck, so we're sending it back over to our casters, Sundown and Clay Sailing, to get us into the action. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala, and welcome back, everyone. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Finals. 3 games have been down, and we're also jumping a little bit into this one so we can stay up to date. Clay, what do you think of the action so far?
It has been tense, and it is going to be a nail-biter coming into this game. As we saw, the top is only separated by a few points, and there was a 3-way tie there. The third, of course, it all breaks down based on tiebreakers, but our Victory Royale winners are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As Deceptos is in 1st with no Victory Royales. We're hopping on board here first, though, with Thomas HG. He was able to get Shockwave Launcher and that Mythic Charge Shotgun in the inventory. Will he go aggressive in the mid-game, though, however, is the question.
And that's what he's looking for right now. We talked about just how valuable that mythic loot is coming out of Caddy. He also has all of the excess shields and the guaranteed launch pad that comes from the vault, but you still have to execute on the rotation because while it is super valuable, everyone and their mother and their grandmother and probably their 3rd and 2nd cousins and that one person you talked to in 3rd grade the one time as you were at the water fountain, they all want this mythic loot. It is so strong, particularly in solos when it comes to maintaining high ground control in the end game, which allows you to convert at a much higher percentage at actually closing out the game.
And Thomas is no stranger to doing that. We've seen him do it before many, many times, but today, winless on the day. There's still 3 more games for him to get this win, but getting tagged up in this early portion of the game is hard for you and for your loot because you have to invest time, you have to invest mats and those shields to use it there. As we see Kiriachi going to fall there in the feed. Thomas has to be careful about going for shots like that. Standing still is never okay in Fortnite because it will always get you tagged up. He was luckily able to avoid it.
And Thomas HD knows all about that, known for being one of the best and most accurate players in Europe, particularly with those hunting rifles and sniper rifles, and able to punish the players looking to throw those shots in there and to rack up damage for Storm Surge. That's what we talk about when it's all about the tags going through there. But now we're going to take a look at a quick little replay here there as Flois will be able to pick up an Elam as he's going through here, but then I believe he fell right after that.
And landing in a different spot than he was normally, as he does end up falling to SD. He, in the gas station, has been changing up loot spots every single game today, and it doesn't seem to be working out after his great performance in that first game.
And Wolfie is actually also going down to himself there, which to me indicates he probably might have tried to RPG too close there. Wasn't a storm signal going off, so he will be taken out, and we saw him go down early last game as well. Rifle actually going to yoink that elimination away there. As you can see, Thomas trying to close in, get as much pressure here. Rifle did close out that last game, so getting another elimination there. Really good job on Thomas, using that shockwave horizontally, closing the distance onto passive, and give him a little donkey laughing and take the L. If you're in Party Royale Island right now, you got that combo? Can you hit that combo real quick? Give him the donkey laugh into the L with a quick little dab, and then back into the L. Show him what you got. Show Thomas HD some love because that was a well-executed play there. He's going to look to continue to roll with that loot into the finals.
And while Thomas is dancing, Mongrel falls on the other side of the map as well. So they're definitely needing to change it around. And this is something that's unique to see is that the players near the top are not stopping. They are not stopping their aggression because they are near the top. They want to keep pushing the pedal. They realize how close it is. They say, you know what? If you're going to catch me, you need to go just as aggressive as I am, if not better. As Deceptos is looking for a snipe, almost hits it, and he barely even saw that player. Would have been one to definitely put in the montage and the highlight reel He's got to be careful. There's a player nearby, and he needed those tags because he is below Storm Surge.
24 below, 27 below, so it's going to continue to drop. You can see 77 players left. Once the storm does close in, that Storm Surge will come into play. Don't forget that is 25 damage every 10 seconds. And with only the 3 minis, that's very rapidly going to pick through, but he should have an opportunity here. There's multiple players rotating in front of him. Still 5 below after that 32 tag, so not quite enough, but might have a nice little ambush opportunity, especially with those 3 crash pads here. However, he needs to be careful as there's 2 players here, and I think one of the players has to be below Storm Surge because they're in the zone and still pressing really aggressively.
And a nice heads-up tag there by Deceptos to get another tag for that Storm Surge. He's hopping the box. He's done with it. He says, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I want that tag. And with that elimination, he secures himself a placement point as well as the elim point going into that top 75 placement threshold.
Yeah, and a good job. So huge impact elimination there. We talk about tags, which is when you're just trying to land shots for some damage, not necessarily looking to convert, but a massive conversion, which ends up being 2 points because the placement swing puts him well above the Storm Surge threshold. So their number 1 place, not going to be threatened by that, going to get a relatively easy transition into the mid game after getting the resources from that elimination. But now on board with Boffo here, slightly off of the top 15 pace in terms of 20 points, but more than capable of picking himself back up, and he is well above that Storm Surge threshold now. And oh my lord, the legendary pistol going to work. Ovations Arion going down there, and we've talked about just how strong that weapon can be and why these competitive and top players are opting to pick it up. It's because in the most recent season, all of those assault rifles have had their headshot multipliers change to be 1.5. The pistols, on the other hand, still have a 2.0 headshot multiplier, which means due to the higher rate of fire, if you're able to be accurate and find 1 or 2 headshots like you saw in that situation, you can convert into eliminations on a really consistent basis, and sometimes even better with the AR. But now, back on board here with Thomas, and the reason we're watching him is we're checking that loadout. He's the one with Kit's mythic loot, has the launch pad, and we've seen just how destructive it can be in all of these late game scenarios.
And Thomas has been mastering it so far, but he does get tagged up again. This is not good for Thomas. He's got the shockwave launcher. He's got a lot of builds, but he's running out of heals as he's going to get a nice beam, and we'll see him shockwave here momentarily. No, decides not to. As Carrot seems like he ran out of mats or was just in a bad situation, and Thomas capitalized yet again. And we've seen this in the first game. We saw him get mid-game elims. But this is the first time he's been able to actually get an elim and get the loot that comes with it. So that's going to be really good and really scary for these competitors. Because if he's able to pick up any minis or floppers there, he's in a good spot. Someone, however, not in a good spot is Arden, as Hin takes him down very, very low. Arden's going to have to make a play, but there's no play to be made there from him.
And the storm was on his back, forcing him to rotate through. Your Hen also good job dropping down, picking up whatever he could get there, because you notice not a ton of materials coming over just below the elimination counter to the right of his name. You can see the total number of builds he has available as it does start ticking down. So only about a third of the maximum available, because when you're in the competitive mode, there is a mat cap. It's not 999 metal, 999 wood, 999 brick. No, you can only carry 500 of each, which ends up equating to 150 total builds. Is now we're going to switch on over to an initial replay here of Hen putting pressure down towards the fight and getting kind of this first damage onto Ardit, and it's just like a really good job making sure he's closing this out. And you can see, because the storm is pressing up on the back and Ardit doesn't have the supplies or anything to really get past Hen, he's just forced to go, and Hen faking that he had rotated and then turning around, a really good job picking up that elimination. As now we're going to hop back on board with our current leader, Gamers Origin Deceptos.
And where the Holly hedges, that's really good for players like Rezon. We have not had to move this entire game as it's coming to a close here. He's got a good position in zone as well, as we see a lot of players go down. Storm Surge will be a factor in this next zone as it starts to close. We only need 10 players, however. A little bit less of the players alive, as this was a harder rotate for some players to make. Deceptos, however, is in first, is not slowing down at any moment in time. Constantly looking for tags, constantly looking for picks, constantly looking for anything he can to continue to spread his lead even more, because he was only in the lead before this by 2 points. now will definitely be in the lead by at least 3 with that elimination, but that's not going to be enough for him. He wants to be 10, 15 points, however many more he can increase. That's where he wants to be, and he's actually following the path of Rezon right now.
And trying to do his best to play Fortnite as a platformer, just hitting all those crash pads, but unfortunately missing the second one, and he could end up paying for it as the spray comes through, and now he's going to be forced to burn some of the shields there, make sure he gets himself back up. You do see Rifla moving past him there. That was the match number 3 winner, trying to continue his momentum and rolling forward as now back on board here with Deceptos. Burned 2 of his minis and one of the big pots. Also down to just 62 builds and 2 crash pads from a player right next to him, not owning the wall, and he follows up 1, 2, 3 shots, but then he needs to back off right away because he picked up racks, but then another player was squeezing in towards the end, and this is that 4th circle kind of crunch we talk about where everyone's piling in, establishing their box on the edge of the zone, trying to pull the half in, half out, but not get eliminated and not end up being the focus of other players. That's why you see kind of these different apartment buildings kind of being segmented off towards the side, as now we swing on over to Tayson, who also has Snazy right by him, but Tayson currently throwing some great shots and in an awesome gatekeeping position.
And in a very good spot because there's no one really looking at him in that area. Now, if Zone does not pull where he wants it to, he will be in an awkward spot, but you see a shark coming through the background, hitting some players, somebody else down below just trying to stave off the pressure, the lobby spray coming through, and that's what happens when you be a little bit of a loot goblin. Is Milan gonna go down, but Tayson looking to get another elimination there, so someone else trying to rotate out as well. A lot of shots going down, everybody firing. He finds the man's literal foot there as he's getting the shot down to him, but I think that elimination is going to go over to Vidil, so Tayson not able to capitalize on the second elimination, but at least able to pick up 1.
And you can see the thought process behind Vidil right there, trying to get around, or Vidil picking up Pinky there, trying to get around and rotate the side using kind of the water and the path that was there. But both the Sharks and the lobby focus and the fact that the players had already established themselves in the zone meant the late rotate wasn't going to pay off. As now, look at the players who are all stacked on top of each other here. We're going to hop on board with Letwick, who's going to pick up Floppa Michael. We are inside the top 50, so second placement point has gone over. Now back on board with Letwick again, trying to push through and find a second Elam. It's Rifla who's going to get down. That was the match number 3 winner, so still plenty of the top players left in this one.
But they could go down if Letwick's continuing to push this advantage, but he doesn't have HP in his inventory. He's got the floppers, but no extra minis. This is not what he wanted from that loot. He was hoping for big shields, chug splashes, any more minis there, but not able to get it. Maybe wonder if Rifle was able to steal some of those away as he decides to disengage and actually ends up letting near Slick there. The Strokey down there as well. Slender, Vidil, Queasy, Tayson down there as you see them panning through. Rifle, though, in a very good spot to look at anybody crash padding into zone of shots. Continuing to hit here for him is just tracking beautifully through the air. Milan will fall. They're running out of AR ammo, though, so this is concerning. He's not able to pick up any of these eliminations. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, he's desperately looking for the siping because he doesn't have a big pot to take himself over. This is the half in, half out zone, so he's just trying to keep the players from rotating in. But as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, pretty much everyone has already made it right to the edge of the circle. So once we move into zone number 6, aka the moving zones and the late game, it's all going to be about the rotation priority. This is the late game, match number 4. All of the top players are still in it, so keep an eye on that top left corner and who's taking down who, as all of them are capable of winning this game and closing out the victory route. 40 players remaining. The zone's going to close here, and we'll have the first reveal of the moving zones. You can see Rifla, Deceptos, Seven Tor, Steelix, Bion God, all the players directly on top of each other. Floki, Thomas HD, Vato, so many players stacked right towards this edge, and nobody has priority on the zone. Everybody is going to be forced to rotate. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Pretty much the entire lobby is on the south side, and you have to go northwest. This is going to signal a ton of early crash pads, early launch pads, and then players who don't have that utility either looking to recycle it from opponents or just branch out right away. And here it goes. The crash pads and the launch pads are out.
Rifle choosing to just launch instead of recycle because he doesn't want to rely on that volatility that is the Fortnite lobby. You see, looking around and scouting everything that he can. He wants as much information as he can. SMG is out. We haven't seen any SMG plays here in competitive Fortnite because not a lot of players are prioritizing it. As an RPG is going to come through. Rifle going to take a lot of damage, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this one. 29 HP. He does have mini shields in his inventory, and you see he did get out, and he is going on the aggression. He has to go forward, and he needs to realize that he's got to be careful. He also needs this. He desperately needs to get elimination, challenging high ground there, and now dropping down.
And MCS X Squeezy has just picked up a huge elimination. Deceptos going down. Anas also going down. X Squeezy got picked up right before that, but the two top players are now out. This is Rifle's opportunity to stamp it. Hen is out as well. That's another player who is top 6 going into it. All of the legends are dropping, and Rifle is saying, it's my opportunity to shine. He won match number 3. Can he turn it around? He picks up Slicks as well, saying, I'm the best of us right now. I will prove it. 39 points. Top 25 going through another placement threshold, but can he execute? From the low ground, now hopping up into the mid ground as we get a look at the wide and everyone else rotating through, but back on board with Rifle. Already 4 eliminations and pushing for that next placement threshold at top 20 as Janice picks up Thomas. Shrimsy also going down, another point ticking over, and that's around 40 for Rifle.
This is really good to see, but he's got to keep going. He can't get stuck in the zone like this. That's exactly what's happening. He's being held out. Shots come through. Not able to connect on him, and he's going to tick over the zone. 41 points is what he's finished on for this game. So anybody over 41 or close is going to look to challenge. Janus on the high ground. Lewick in the mid ground. Tace on there as well. Smudge and Snazy. Vadil, PCH, and Scrib there. That's your top, 11, 10 players there. As Janus is looking just to spray everybody. PCH rotating through that second high position, looking to get anything going there as Interact is hiding behind Letwick there. We get a lot of wides coming through as Janus is trying to pressure down there. I believe with that pistol there, or maybe an AR, doesn't really have much to work with, it seems like, because his HP has not increased. Is Tayson going to get tagged on up? Smudge and PCH added. Scrib trying to make their rotation through. Slender on the low ground as well as Stacey. PCH is unfortunately going to fall. Interact going to be there as well. Vadil right now on your screen. 3 eliminations, looking to make it more. 9 total players remaining. Got Crashman, got Floppers. Scrib is going to fall there. Vadil trying to rotate with the last little bits of mats that he's got, and he's got enough hard mats to make one more box, and then he's going to have to make a play. As everybody making plays down below, he's just trying to hold out. He doesn't want to drop down right away. Stacey going down. Nice shot there on the Tayson. It's a mythic loot there, but he's not going to be able to pick it on up. Everybody falling. Fudge going down as well. Floppers being popped here. Does he have enough HP to pop and make it in his zone? The Floppers are going to help him. Letwick going to go down. He was up there near the points as well. Janice maybe able to take this. The FNCS solo invitational winner doing very well, but looking for deal. Just floppering in zone, trying to mini up, trying to get prepared. As Slender is going to go into zone. The Shockwave launcher is here. Janice going to lose high ground there to Vadil. Does he have enough HP to keep it? Does he have enough mats to keep it as well? Vadil dropping down, Shockwave being used, everyone being flown. Janice is still there, shots coming through. Vadil going to miss, and unfortunately Slender going to take him down. Now in a 1v1 scenario, Janice launches himself into zone. Oh no, this is not what he wanted. He didn't want that, but shots go through. He hits a lot of damage, and now the HP is back in his favor. Slender has to make a play. Shockwaves being used, and I don't know if there's enough Shockwaves left in the game to give Janus the win, but he's got the HP. He's got the shotgun shot. He's got the pressure, but can he find it? Can he find the angle that he needs? He's going to have to drop down sooner or later. The zone. We've got one more, but Slender notices that and gets the jump up dub.
Slender with the 4 eliminations in the victory royale, 25 points coming out and executing from the low ground. Janice unfortunately not able to close it out with the Shockwave launcher, but a good defense coming out from Slender there. And 4 matches are down with just 2 games remaining. Who will walk away with that #1 spot in Europe? Zeke, Bala, Shio, break it down for us. Let us know what we're looking for.
There's a lot of things that we are looking for, and right now there's actually some we have yet to see, and the leaderboard is going to help uncover what it is we're missing, because there's a shark hiding in the shadows as we are running through this race toward this finish line. Boys, first off, big congratulations there to Slender. I like the victory royale, and I like the defensive route he needed to take there to keep Janice away from getting that win.
Absolutely, and now we're going to be looking at the ramifications of that game and what it's going to look like going into the final slots over here for Europe. For the standings, in first place, is it someone new? What's it going to be? No, Rifla is still holding on to that top spot. 41 points in total, now almost leading the pack, right behind Vidil in eliminations, has that win in case of the tiebreaker, but he is dominating game after game, so consistent.
But the two players I want to highlight, because what we're talking about consistency, these guys are converting the most. Rifle has actually had a second or third zone fall, which actually pushes his average placement way out. And if that happens again, that is dangerous. Whereas Desitos and Letwick, they've only had one game where they've fallen out of the 4 in around the top 40 area, which is actually converting on a little bit of elims, but otherwise, too, they're pushing deep into the top 10 on every game that they make it into that end game. So that is very, very crucial looking forward. I think it's going to be a duel between Desitos and Letwick.
I mean, they are pulling away from the pack. Look at the top 3 down to top 10. You're looking at an 11-point differential. And don't forget, Flois was the first winner on the day. He got the first victory out. But we see this a lot, right? Whoever starts strong, they tend to fizzle.
Still, though, like everyone always has this expectation that it's possible for these players in 20th place, in 30th place to bounce back up. I would usually agree, but after watching EU today, it is the same players we're seeing alive in Endgame. When we say these guys just need 7 or 11 points, that means getting to the top 10. And for a lot of these guys like Steelix Snazy, yes, they're playing well, but are they there consistently? That is the big question.
Yeah, that it will be. Bad Sniper, 21st right now. Mongrel also middling around 22nd. That's not where these guys want to be going into the final 2 games, but there's still a chance. We all know when it comes to 6-game grand finals that the final 2 games mean so much.
No matter what, these guys want to get better than anyone else around them and want to place higher. So all the way till the final game, the competition will stay hot.
We got to think, man. 2 games left. It's wild to think we've been doing this for like 3 weeks now, and now we get to look at the conclusion, see who will hold the Axe of Champions high, and after 2 games, we'll have a new FNCS champion. Now, guys, we were kind of talking about players, the shark in the water, and it's none other than Deceptos, who is finding himself in that 2nd place. We haven't seen him much on broadcast, so what has this guy been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be a group effort here, but 100% we'll break it down in just a sec. Deceptos has basically been going, as you said, Zeke, through those shadows, right? He's been playing around other players and how, kind of pop off they've been. They're kind of showing overall exactly what they can do and break down in front of everyone else. And while they're taking the spotlight, that's the word I was looking for, Deceptos is operating in that background. He's getting everything these players are not looking at or seeing.
Yeah, there's so much to actually consider when getting into Deceptos' game plan because, like I said, he's converting on these end games. I want to find out how. I want to find out where this man is dropping and how he's actually transitioning into the end game because, like I said, it's so important, but these are some of the things we miss. Him in top 10 right here, 2 eliminations, and he still makes a couple count. While some at the top, like Rifle, might be having a little bit more impact in terms of elimination, he's making it count for placement.
And this is exactly how he gets his game started. Let's actually break down what he does every single game, specifically that last one too. Landing somewhere near Lazy Lake, actually taking a back alley loop path all the way across the map, picking up so many houses that people will get to later on faster than them, and then getting into these positions, these boxes fast, where he has control and can drop down these shotgun shots in really crazy angles.
And this game right here was actually Deceptos' first game where he ended up falling after that top 50 mark, so he got the 2 placement points. But what he did do is actually fight a little earlier, grab that elim on Bad Sniper, and then has the awareness to recognize that Rax is in the box next to him. He'll convert, but after those 2 fights, that's when it gets to be a little risky for Letwick. It was last game that was an issue for him. This time, he's still going in, and he'll take down so many important ones. That was a Nas, and you know how high he was on the leaderboard.
And these guys are in the game every single time. They are taking out these big names. We alluded to these 20th place players possibly rising to the top. They have to overcome these 2 monstrous barriers.
I mean, You know, and it's just going to come down to the final 2 games here. Rifle holding strong at the top, but Deceptos, they're lurking in the waters. You've got Letwick who's on the side. Anas, who picked up the Victory Royale, is here as well to play. The Deal, who made it through, which, by the way, sat in the storm forever, was eating floppers, and then is like, oh, I have to get to the storm? I got crash pads, baby, it's good. So many names are in this race right now.
Yeah, but for me, I'm going to pick Deceptos to make it through in these last 2 games. He has been playing out of his mind, and before that game where he fell after 50th place, for him it was an average placement of 9.67. So I'm going with the Frenchman. Allez les bleus, let's go.
Okay, I'm going to pick a Rifle to stay up top. I feel like being in first is a big deal, and he can hold on and stop these 2 men, no matter where they're from taking that top spot.
All right, I'm going to The Deal because he has style points, and I like style. Guys, with that being said, we're getting ready to head into the next game, game number 5, here in EU. Sundown Clay, let's throw it your way.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And with just 2 games left to go, it is tightly contested at the top of the leaderboard. You see Rifle currently holding a 4-point lead just over Deceptos and Letwick, but plenty of people within striking distance still. We've seen time and time again those victory royales worth right around 19 and 20 points, so anybody can make a play. But Clay, if you're going to make that play, it has to be right now.
You cannot wait any longer. This is it. These are the final moments. There is one more game, but there's not enough points on the lobby for you to make that play if you wait to the final moment. So you need at least 2 games to write the miracle run, the miracle story that we've seen a lot of players do. Will Rifle be able to make that happen? Noah Riley trying to make his run up the top of the leaderboard as well. Rifle, though, is relatively uncontested other than he's got 2 people there, but with the way Frenzy's built, you can be contested and never see your opponent.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for you to break sight lines, get through. You can also see Llama tagged up. Llama 210 over there. Chat calling it out. Everyone, there's plenty of opportunities to get through. A Rifle is going to be super thankful for that. The Llama coming through is such a big influx of not only materials, but key end game items that really enable you to go through, especially getting that launch pad. But now you can see engagement going on over here with Supremacy's Floki and Flecken. Who will be the better F as they fight it out here? The question will be resolved quickly as the crash pad ends up coming through. Floki putting the pressure down on the Flecken, but nobody necessarily able to connect shots. And as I say that, Floki hits 2 back-to-back. He says, thanks for the loot. I'll take that epic tactical shotgun and everything else that comes with it. The crash pads, the shields, all the metal over here on the side, and he's going to be very happy about that.
And the guaranteed launch pad that comes out of the rig's vault area. That is a very, very big pickup for Floki. And again, in that range where they could make something happen. Now we do have a replay here of what happened at Caddy Corner with Thomas HD. Running away is going to get tagged up out. I actually had 1 build left, but you can't build right there. And unfortunately falling early.
Vestakira taking down what was the 7th ranked player there. So what you care about right now as a viewer, we're keeping an eye on that top left-hand corner. Who in the top 10 is falling and who can remain and keep picking up points, because that's going to set up the story for what the final game is and who's going to have an opportunity. But right now, Bad Sniper needs to be careful. First AR shots come out right away from the Bush Wookiee, trying to set up an ambush, and Bad Sniper going to cover himself up and immediately start burning through that utility because he doesn't want to get pressured down.
He's got to be careful. There's players nearby as well. He's got to get out. And this is Kiriachi. This is kind of what we expect from him at this point, just going aggressive and going into boxes where he definitely doesn't have the advantage, but his aim is going to be the advantage there for him. He does hit the floor there, but not able to keep tracking Bad Sniper there. The third party comes in, but he's not phased. Shot comes through, and he does end up hitting it. The crash pad going to be used. That player going to get in the box and going aggressive. Bad Sniper, though, is actually going to pick it up, but what a turnaround!
Great job from Bad Sniper executing and finishing that one out under pressure. He needed that to stay in the running and to stay in contention just outside the top 15 right before that, but hopefully going to be able to potentially make a push. But still a tough day for Kiriachi, somebody who is either really hot or really cold, and right now sitting at only 7 points after 5 matches. Well, he's looking ice cold.
In contrast, however, someone who's ice or hot rather, not ice hot. That doesn't really work there. But Deceptos on fire right now. 37 points. Is in second place, however. His lead did get snatched away from him there, but he does have the tools to do it. He's got a shotgun AR, he's got rotation, and he's got the heals. Question is, this zone, how is he going to play it? Already choosing to base up in a really good spot as well. Does not have a lot of metal, but can extend out to that bridge if he wants to. And this is what happens in these last couple games. If you're near the top, you base up very, very early because you don't want your game being affected by any little thing.
That's the goal, is just to make it into that mid-game, transition yourself, avoid those early games. And if you are just joining us, whether it's on Twitch, Twitter, watch.fortnite.com, YouTube, or in Party Royale, welcome. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Solos Finals after 2 weeks of competition and then heats. This is the top 100 players battling it out, and they have 2 matches left to stake their claim as the best player in Europe, walk away with that top prize pool and also the Axe of Champions. And right now, Gamers Origin Deceptos is in second place, just behind Rifla, who we saw take away match number 3 and have a solid performance in match number 4. But right now, he needs to be careful because we've seen what Flois is capable of, and he's right nearby him.
And Deceptos is looking for that elimination and the tags, because he hasn't, it seems like, hasn't gotten any tags yet based on where he is in the zone. And definitely will need them with Storm Surge. We won't see it as much in these later games as you saw Kiriachi getting more aggressive, turning more to that Kiriachi from old that we've seen time and time and again. And other players are going to start to do that as well. They need that pop-off game. They need that game to really set them apart. That's what they're doing. But we've got another replay here from Ledwig's perspective, as he's on the back foot running away from a henchman, as well as another player there is going to look to try to take down Jules. And unfortunately, you can't take down Jules when there's a Carrot lurking nearby.
The coordinated spray there between the henchman and Carrot will take down Letwick. He was third place going into this, so still plenty of room for others to move up the leaderboard. But hopping on over with Hen, who was 6th coming into this match, trying to keep an eye on who's on the top of the leaderboard. What are they doing to set themselves up? Because again, this is the second to last match, so if you're going to get going, you have to move now. And with top 75 ticking over, that's 1 point for everyone left in the lobby. You get a placement point for outlasting the first 25 players, then you get a placement point for outlasting the next 25 players, so that's top 50, and then after every top 10 until you get to the top 25, and then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So right now, Hen just trying to settle himself up, make sure he has plenty of materials. He's in a good spot to rotate after this, but he is very far south on the zone. So if zone number 2 does pull northward, it can be a little difficult. However, he's looking to just potentially find tags on rotating players, and he's going to find one there.
And he needs this because he came into the game down, I believe my math's correct, 7 points there. That's a lot of points, especially with the low amount of eliminations that we've seen Hen get. Not really one to be up there in the average elimination category, but he's got it. We got number 3 went down, number 7 went down. And in his place coming into this game, has got an opportunity to really solidify himself. I know a lot of people who saw that performance in the qualifier where he ended up getting second place and were like, oh, that's not the Hen that I know, but an ambush being set up shows that Hen has got the ability to do it, and you can't build a wall there. He's got to be careful. Snipe, unfortunately, forgot about that, and Hen took advantage. The quick reaction time for Hen going to set him apart. Another elimination closing the gap. But the point I was trying to make is that Hen is here. He is turning online. This is where he can make his name become a legend.
And that's what he's looking to do in a really good job. We talk about how the best players in the world, not just in the region, but at the absolute highest level, not only are they capable of winning those early game fights and rotating in the late game, but they're so good at manufacturing eliminations, setting up these ambushes, and finding spots to take advantage of their opponent. Notice how Hen was crouched beside the side of the wall. In Cartoon, we talk about taking advantage of rotations there, using the epic sniper rifle, catching Benji out in the open on top of the Authority, and sometimes that's all it takes. No warning, nothing whatsoever, except the whizzing of a bullet, and then all your loot dropping down to the ground. Waves Cartoon taking out Energy's Benji Fishy, the fan favorite, the World Cup qualifier, arguably one of the most consistent players in EU, but he's struggled time and time again when it comes to these grand finals FNCS situations. We saw it back in Season X with MMB where they kept getting ambushed over and over again, and it's proving true today. But right now, our number one player, Rifle, under all the pressure in the world and only those 2 minutes to get himself back up, and Scram is not letting him heal up at all, not relenting, trying to pressure down and give everyone else a chance to catch up.
Rifle's got to make a play here. Scram is 200 HP as Rifle can crash pad it in. The box goes through. He's not going to be able to crash pad out, and number one is out of the game. That's really good for Deceptos, who currently in second place right now.
Not only is it good for Deceptos, it's good for every single player in the lobby. Letwick is down in third. Rifle is down in first. What does that mean? It doesn't matter how low on the leaderboard you are. If you can convert a victory royale, that's 14 points without the eliminations. Traditionally, we've seen at least 4, if not 5. That's a 19-point game. Any player who walks away with a victory here could rocket themselves up the leaderboard, and Tayson's trying to do it, and he does it to Janice himself over in the Steamy Stack side. The duo and trio partners, they played together time and time again, but there is no love lost in solos. It doesn't matter who you're fighting against. At the end of the day, with 2 matches left, when your back is against the wall and that Axe of Champions is on the line, when you've seen the number one player go down, you're taking every fight at 100%, and Tayson cleans up the FNCS Invitational winner, no problem there.
A beautiful display of skill there from Ason. Says, you know what? All is fair in love is war. I'm taking you down. I'm getting it. Just a reminder, there's $800,000 on the line here today. One elimination could separate you from a certain placement threshold on that overall leaderboard, and that could be the difference between some big amounts of money. And so no one wants to go out just sitting there not taking engagement or having to think about, oh, that one elimination would have put me there. Deceptos, however, in second place right now, but first place, third place, seventh place are all out of the game. Anas still in the game from what we know, Vadil still in the game from what we know, and Hen still in the game from what we know. There's still a chance for him to be challenged, but this is great for Deceptos because if he can just make it to a top 5, he's already going to eclipse the points that Rifle had. So any eliminations and any placement past that will be so good for him.
And you can see what Deceptos is doing right now is he's hanging out inside of his box, and then he's editing the cone in the top. What that allows you to do, as opposed to other structures, you can see out the top of that cone. You can kind of scout out the information around you. He's trying to figure out where the priority is, and once the zone does reveal, he's going to move a little bit more inland from that outside. He knows he doesn't want to be right on the edge, but he also doesn't want to move too far center as he wants to set himself up for that 4th and 5th zone positioning. As now we're going to swing on over the farm. And a number of players here, Lecce, Ardit, Mongrel, and Noah Riley, all posted up right on top of this barn and also right on the edge of that next safe zone.
He's got a shockwave launcher that has been doing very well. I think 3 out of the 4 games the player has won with actually using it. That last game we saw it actually get defeated there. The question is, will Noah be able to reign supreme with it? With only 27 builds, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's got to get this elimination down below. Dropping through the rafters, though, will give him an opportunity to get a shot, but it misses. As a third party coming through, Noah Riley suddenly finds himself in a situation he does not want to be in, and the quick edits out will return him to the high ground, but there's not much to work with here. He's already farmed it all out.
Yeah, and he's going to now start breaking those builds. You saw they were already damaged, just trying to get as much wood without actually converting over, but he is quite literally right on the white line of the zone with so many sharks in the water right around him. You saw Mongrel saying, nope, I'm getting out of there, and if Mongrel's rotating away from the situation, you probably don't want to get stuck in it either. But Noah Riley, if anybody has the loadout to make it work, it's him with the mythic weaponry, particularly in close quarters. You have so many options available to you, and that mythic shark shotgun hits so hard, and it's Lecce who he hits so hard, 12 HP being the difference, and then immediately boxes, edits himself up, and he's going to pop those shields, get the med kit off, and try and defend, but no, only 1 mini he's able to get off. Again, going to break away and just going to opt to use the shockwave launcher to create some space, use some natural cover there, and the ramp that was pre-built to hopefully now pop that med kit, but Clement is nearby just cone camping.
That was too close for comfort there for Noah Riley. Got that Elam, but not as many matches he was hoping for it, and hopefully able to continue his streak going through. But now we're on board here with Rezon. Same kind of situation. A lot to work with in the inventory, but not a lot of match. And look, he's looking to set up. Oh, crash pad in the top. Will he get in? No, the cone's going to prevent it, but he's all the way in. He doesn't care. This player being a little bit too careful with their builds, and they wanted that drop, and they're not going to be able to get it. Is Rezon going to get the drop on them as they're continuing the crash pad? Crash pad in, trying to get the player out, and shots go through, and PCH going to go down yet again.
Really good job from Reason there to hound that fight out. Saw all of the excess loot that was coming in there. Knew if he was able to close that out, he'd be able to just kind of advance himself into the game. And notice too, he pulled that fourth zone. He's right on the edge of that. So he should be looking to see how many extra materials he was able to pick up from PCH there and just build himself a nice little base, expand out, get deeper into that zone, and then own all of that territory possible. Make it harder for people to rotate back over. Because now we're going to swing on board here with Hen, who was 6th coming into this match. Another big opportunity for him to rocket up the leaderboard with his teammate Rifla going down.
He's got to make a very, very good slate of decisions in front of him. When does he rotate? Does he rotate now? If you look, he's got a good white line there. Only one player standing between him and that. And he's actually going to choose to go around to the top. But he assumes that there's not that many players coming this way because it came from Steamy. But look how many arrows assumed that as well. And so, unfortunately, he's got a lot of players in this area. He's trying to set up an ambush, but nobody is going to fall for it. Kane is going to be the one nearest there as he does get some shots, but this is not where Hen wants to be. He's going to have to get creative on this next piece of the rotation because Kane's going to sit in the cone. He's got to realize that, and he does. He puts the ramp. He knows immediately that that cone in the middle of all these builds is a little bit fishy.
It's a little bit fishy. You can also tell as soon as it enters that edit state, it's no longer that fully built. If you see a non-fully built cone, you have to be wary of it. But that player trying to catch an advantage of Hen, and Hen says, joke's on you. Welcome to the chicken coop. I'm the boss here. Takes him down. No problem closing in on that second placement threshold. But Hen trying to catch up and take over that #1 spot, being the top legend. But now on board, one of the favorites is Rezon, who has had a relatively decent performance today, just on the outside of the top 15 coming into this game, but it's not been the consistency we've seen out of him in the heat stage, finding it a little bit harder to cement himself in those consistent top 15s and top 10s that he was so well known for during the qualifiers.
And every day you play Fortnite, somebody gets better, somebody improves, and somebody comes out of nowhere, and you've got to be on top of that. And for some of these players, sometimes, you know, it doesn't end up working out that way because of the RNG factor. It was unfortunate to see him go down there as we see a fight happening between Wolfies and Serenity Swaps. As Rezon going to look to get some third parties there, is actually shooting through an open edit there, not shooting through a wall. As he does get some tags onto Swaps, as Swaps is dropping down onto Wolfies, and Wolfies is actually going to fall.
And we've seen this time and time again. We've kind of talked about it. Wolfies is really good when he's the aggressor, but he can kind of be taken advantage of when you go back on him. And that's what we've seen time and time again. And that's kind of what European solos is about. Like, yes, you can be good when you have all the tempo, but pretty much every other one of these players is good at playing high tempo. As Reason identifying the fact that that fight had been resolved, immediately crash pads over, and he's able to pick that one up. Now he has 3 players worth of loot over on the side with priority on zone. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye on to potentially take advantage of the fact that 3 of the players in the top 7 have already fallen. Tayson, another player we want to keep an eye on. He was top 10 before coming right into this. He's able to pick up Steelix with just 1 HP to spare before that siphon ends up coming through, and that's a 2-point swing as we hit top 50.
And he finds the extra minis as well. This is so good. He gets the flopper off. He's going to have minis to refill the ones that he's trying to take. And he finds a good path to zone as well. This was very, very clutch in getting into this end game, because had he not found that, he would have been very, very, very much in shambles. As Rezon nearby, Mawaka there as well, as we get Nebby, Arion Carton there on your screen, Mr. X as well, advises there. A Savage now in this end game as well, 17 points. So he needs 2 back-to-back perfect games to get to that top.
Yeah, and it's somebody who's very good at executing in the mid and the late game. We've seen time and time again 100 Thieves, Mr. Savage, and we've also haven't seen as much as we did before. The peppers in play. When you eat those peppers, you get a huge move speed boost, and it lasts for a minute. So when you get in these late game circles, it gives you a lot more options and a little bit more versatility when you're in these fights. And right now, Savage doesn't have one activated, but using that crash test dummy, hoping to avoid an explosion right here and potentially be the one to cause a little bit of demolition derby. Gonna drop in the box, finds the first shot, finds the second, can't quite convert right now, 5 HP, and it gets taken down. Mr. Savage, 17 points, going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to contesting for the top spot. Both him and Benji, two of the fan favorites, effectively eliminated from that Axe of Champions competition. But want to know who's not? E11 Tayson up on the high ground right now, just raining shots down in that full built metal base, and then using the ramps around the side to cut off any angles on players who might punish him. And a great hip fire shot onto Smudge, then converting afterward, then right away popping the crash pads and trying to head over towards that player to potentially scoop up whatever he can get as we close in on top 40. That's placement points going over in the next rotation, moving out.
And what a stark contrast where we saw him on the low ground, had high ground all of a sudden, and now fragging out is getting elimination after elimination on 3 now, looking to pick up number for that player. No shields remaining, no builds remaining as well. That's going to be Young Bob going down. Tayson now looking for elimination number 5, not going to be able to get it. He's got a good amount of mats as well. 2 crash pads remaining in the inventory, so he can make it into zone number 7 and 8 as it pulls away from him. He's going to look for any eliminations that he can, but he decides, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of zones, then look back, because that is the best way to find these eliminations, as players are not paying attention to the head of zone.
And you can see top 25 ticking over. Hen does go down there as well. There's a player who's contending towards the top. But Tayson, the winner of Heat 2, trying to push forward and cement his spot. He has now tied Rifla, who is the leader coming into this. This is his opportunity to take over the front spot. And notice what he's doing so well is he's tarping out and he's using the full builds and he's staying towards the front part of the zone. And then he doubles back right here looking for picks. This is something when you have execution, you have space, no one else is on your level, you turn eliminations in by doing this because he knows he's safe and he can continue moving on a horizontal level while also harassing his opponents. Top 20 ticks over now. Tayson going to continue contributing there. 43 points for the E11 player.
And he goes into zone to crash right because he wanted to be safe doing it, did not want to risk it. He's got the flopper. So that damage he took is effectively null. He's back up to 200 effective HP, but 18 players remaining. He's going to have to make a play, and he's already looking for high ground. He's second high right now, but the drop down going to ensue. Squeeze going to fall there to Milan. The shot's going through. Tayson getting challenged, but he's going to get an elimination there. Again, now on 6th elimination. Bayon going to go down. Flopper Michael going to fall as well.
And you can see Mongrel up on the high ground, Snazy on the low ground, everyone else in between. Scram still up in this lobby. Nate, Milan, Cartoon up as well. Frenzy Fishy dipping back into the storm. That's the flopper play. Going for a late high ground take right now, and he's trying to push forward. Frenzy Fishy up on the high ground, but now dropping back in. This is the box-to-box fight. He's able to pick it up. That is a huge elimination reason right over the side, but it's all Tayson all the time. 9 eliminations pushing forward for top 5, and he's saying right now, I can cement this #1 spot. I can take away the game. I can make you chase me in game number 6 as he closes in for top 3, and he's still hunting. He has that mythic charge shotgun. He says, I'm not just a shockwave player. 11 eliminations. 2 of the players go down, and it's Reason, arguably the strongest solo player, wire to wire, against what is the strongest solo player on the day right now in E11's Tayson. Tayson up on the high ground, Reason on the low ground, and that little bit of Old Man Mountain, he doesn't have to be too large, but it's going to burn Reason through the last of his resources. He's standing out there spraying, no builds left, and Tayson converts, and he does so in a monstrous way. 12 eliminations, add the 14 points for the victory royale. That's 26 points in match number 5. What?
What an insane performance from Tayson. The lead has been blown out of the water, and now it's just going to be about who can play matchup. Can Rifla do it? Can Deceptos do it? Or will Tayson take game number 6 as well?
My goodness. Tayson, While we're all sitting here running this marathon, this short baby sprint, he's sitting there letting everyone just take off, get that lead. He's like, oh my gosh, no way. Everyone's here. They're all running ahead of me. Saves enough in the tank to get the victory royale and the biggest comeback he needed. Ball, what is going on?
It was clinical, man. It was absolutely clinical. It felt like every shot was connecting, and he was making all these quick decisions. There wasn't a time in there where he paused, where he took a second to breathe. He didn't stop at all. Foot on the gas, and he takes it all the way up to the top. What a performance from Tayson.
I feel like there was one person on his keyboard and a separate person on his mouse because he was playing movement and aim perfectly, Tayson. And that's why I'm going to say he's 100% first place right now, holding stuff off from everyone else. The question is completely right, though. Who can catch up to him? Because he's a pack leader by so many points. Oh, my goodness.
And there was definitely some instances where this opportunity arose. We always think of EU, the winners, ending up coming out in the last two games. But something else also interesting is that Tayson won Heat 2. And if you think back to FNCS duos and FNCS squads, both of the winners of Heat 2 in squads, it was Red Rush, Drobbin, Snappy, and Wakey. In duos, it was Andalex and Nate who ended up taking that X of Champions. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it might happen again.
It's his destiny. It's Tayson's destiny to win this entire tournament, this entire region, and it's been decreed. The question is, can anyone flip the story, flip the switch? Rifle, Deceptos, Hen, Reason, it's their last game to have a stand, have a say in it. X-Squeeze Thomas, I mean, if Tayson can do it, if he can be at this spot, 20th place, 30th place, and shoot all the way up, any of these guys could too.
And they all have the capability. Again, we talk about this quality factor. These guys have made it here. They have fought through the gauntlet. They have what it takes to cement that win. They just have to make it happen. One game left. We thought it's all, Rifle is at the top. And there's no way. And suddenly Tayson said, no, everyone stand aside. My time is right here, right now. And that's what these guys need to do.
And don't forget, in the Invitational, it was Janice, Tayson's duo partner, but all of a sudden it seems like the skills have transferred because Tayson has not stopped this weekend. He stands above and beyond the rest of 16 points. But if you looked at that top leaderboard, there was a big question, right? Because we were saying, oh, it's Deceptos, oh, it's Rifle, oh, these guys, Letwick has an opportunity. But I talked about conversion last time you guys saw me, and all of a sudden those guys fell. They dropped like flies. Absolutely every single one of them ended up dropping and gave Tayson and so many others the opportunity. But it feels like Tayson took and strangled all the opportunity from everybody else.
That is how it goes sometimes, man. We keep talking about it. Those guys at the top, they have to hold on. If they can't, this will happen.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my natural reactions to what I thought this game would look like. Wow, Anas, I'm so hyped and ready for you to be playing this out to get all the way back up to first. And here we go. He gets taken out. Past that, it's fine. We have more predictions in the top 5, right? Letwick, he's there to hang. He's at authority. He has the power and control. He's waiting for shots and making sure everything's looking good for himself. But he gets beamed out too.
It's Carrot, who lurks in the authority again since the Invitational, and he stops Letwick's reign up there, but Rifle had nothing in the tank there against Scram. There was a big shift in player behavior in this game and how they were playing so aggressive. The only guy out of that top 5 who made it towards the end was the Deceptos, but a huge shot from Larka out of a peak box to make it count.
And if these jumbo jets of players are not there to rule the skies towards this end game, it's Tayson that takes that flight plan, takes Sword all the way and takes flight actually into this game and holds down things. Starting off a little bit slow, gets 1 or 2 elims from mid to end game, but then you saw what happened when the zone started to close down. You saw how proficient he was with every decision that he made.
And when you talk about proficiency, how he didn't stop at all in this game, it's because of this new season, because the crash pads actually activate people in mobility to get this far in the game and then do things like this. Tayson finding the moments where players are going to drop in to old bases for where he could find elims, and then again, decisive dropping down, gets another one, and he does not stop.
Every shot he took was still from cover looking out towards the open, so it was literally perfect. There was nothing wrong with what he was doing at all.
Not at all, and even when players start to get aggressive on him, he will respond in kind. He only has a charged shotgun and a burst AR, but he makes it work even close range. And then it's just follow up. Down below, another peek box. He finds another. This is it. Look at this shot. The flick jump onto the player on height, the biggest threat, and Tayson takes him out so fast. Another quick build, and boom.
He actually lands the shot, lands the landing, and then gets height with another back-to-back past that. The left peak, followed by the right one as well. Reason had no idea what he was up against, and Tayson was on fire with so much hot momentum. What a performance.
If you blinked, you missed it, because I don't know where the shockwave launcher went, but he still had Kit's charge, and that's apparently all you need if you're Tayson. I'm getting scared for everybody. 16 points, but also if he does what we saw in Heat 2, which is back-to-back wins, all of a sudden this might be over and done with.
I'm reading my notes here. I think I'm seeing there's a new mythic player on the map, and if he's in the end game, if he's near height, this man is winning. So watch out for Tayson in Game 6.
The tone has shifted. Can Tayson hold down that #1 spot, or will someone step up and try to dethrone him? Let's get ready to get into the last game here in EU. Sundown, Clay, take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And it all comes down to this. After 40 possible matches in each weekend, 80 possible during the course of the qualifiers, then the 6 in the heats, then 5 in the grand finals, we have 1 match remaining, and the tail of the tape is E11's Tayson taking out his former duo partner in Steamy Stacks for the first of 12 eliminations to secure the victory royale in a 16-point lead coming into the final match. Clay, can anybody catch him, or is it a wrap?
The only way somebody can catch him is if somebody here in Steamy decides that they want to push and get this elimination. There's somebody nearby as well. It's either Kensel or Janice. We know they land here. They have an opportunity. It's going to be Kensel there to shut him down if they want to and go on a run of themselves, but it would need to be quick and decisive. As we saw last game, Tayson took down Janice. He did not care if they were doing mates. He did not care if they were landing in the same place. He said, you know what? Nah, this game, I'm going to go on my own little spree. I'm going to write my own destiny.
And that's what it's all about. We talked about it. There's no love lost. It's a solo competition. There is 1 Axe of Champions up for grabs, and everyone is currently chasing Tayson for it. You can see Benji picking up an Elim in the feed there. So who besides E11's Tayson is currently in the running? Rifla, sitting in second place at 42 points, needs 16 to close it. He is the closest. Then you have Deceptos at 41, Hen at 40, Reason at 40, Vadil at 38, Snazy at 38, and then we'll keep Letwick in the conversation as well at 37, that's 21 points back. So that's 7 eliminations plus the victory royale.
And it sounds like a lot because it is, but these players can do it. These players can make the play. We just saw Tayson do just that. But of course, it's all contingent on if Tayson goes down. If he's able to make it into that top 25, into the top 15, top 10 placement points, then your chances are very, very, very slim of toppling him.
Yeah, the longer he stays in the game, the more that delta closes. And now we're going to swing back on board here. Anas potentially looking to set up a nice little door ambush. We've seen this a number of times before. The reason players will hang out by doors is because a lot of players will either interact with doors right away or have auto interact set. What that means is when they walk up and they open the door, they're unable to take any other action because you're locked out while you're performing that animation. If a player walks in right on the other side of the door, this is Anas looking to manufacture an elimination, and Bitfox might be the one on the other side of it.
He is setting the trap, and the cheese, you got to wonder how tasty it'll be here for Bitfox as he's falling for it. He's walking right in. Anas is going to get the shot. The trap has been sprung. Bitfox down to 23 HP. Anas really needs this elimination if he wants to contest it. Bitfox trying to stay out and run away, but Anas going to pick that one up.
And that's so good. We talked about it last game. We talked about doing everything possible in your power to set it up, to be successful, to manufacture these points when you need to climb that grind and get up and catch somebody like Tayson, where every single point matters. We can see some early shots coming out here. Can he potentially find the tags, convert it into elimination? And looking on the bottom right-hand corner, nobody's really threatening even remotely close to him right now.
Indeed, and this is what you want if you want to get that first place. He says he's just going to get gifted an elimination onto Handy.
And that's so huge. Every single point pushing him that much farther up. And it reminds me so much of Booga during the Solo World Cup when he threw a couple of rifle shots there in the final game, was able to pick up an elim, and he just laughed to himself. Tayson got to be laughing to himself right now. If you're in Party Royale, hit him with that hee-haw emote. Let him hear the donkey laugh, because that's what Tayson has to say after throwing one singular AR bullet, but you saw him looking at it. You knew there was a third-party opportunity, and that's what makes the best player in Europe just the best. You've got to throw those shots over there.
And we also need to point out, yes, this is for first place as well. That is the goal everyone is playing. But everybody's going to get money for just coming here and making it here today. These are some of the best, if not the 100 best solo players in the European region. Sundown has said it. This is the most played in, most competitive region of the world, and it's not going to be easy to just even make it here. So Slender and Kezek, while they are fighting it out, and while one of them may fall here, they have done so much just to get here, to get their moment right here on the screen. As Kezek is turning the fight in his favor, the pistol being used, it's breaking through the build, and Slender unfortunately gonna fall there.
Slender being taken down, and that's just a reminder again, this is the top 0.001% of players. This is the best of the absolute best, and they're competing against her after a grueling qualifying and heat process. Is now on board with Wolfie as the second place in the Duo World Cup, but having a tough run of it today on the opposite side of AR Bafo, who we've seen a number of times more than capable of taking these fights. So it should be a good little battle right here, but Wolfie's continuing trying to play the aggressor. We talk about his rough day, only 8 points after 5 games, and doesn't want to be sent out here, wants to have at least some form of a stamp on this game, even if it is just as a spoiler. But with 5 HP, the young lord from the UK will bow out of the competition at just a measly 8 points coming over.
And AR Bafo has someone that has kind of come into that WT role and kind of taken it over for a lot of these players. And right there, someone who was really good at pushing that left stick forward back a couple of months ago. Right now, falling just a little short again. He was coming off an injury, so not in his full form there, but still, what a performance by Wolfies to just make it here today and put those 8 points up. Rezon, however, one of those players that could contend for the top. Again, you would need Tayson to go down before placements points started being divvied out. If he goes down in top 76, that is good for Rifla, good for Rezon, but the likelihood of that happening are very, very slim.
Especially because we saw Tayson early on grab whatever loot and mats he can and then just sprint towards the center zone. That first round of placements will be falling over in with just 4 more players going down, so a little bit quicker of a pace here. As you can tell, everyone trying to push it a little bit, get a couple of eliminations, get a couple placement points, try and move your way past that next player, maybe get a pay upgrade. And if you're hanging out for the first time watching us in Party Royale and you're not necessarily used to competitive Fortnite, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You might be wondering, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I play in these matches? How did these players get here? Well, the first step is to go in and play in the arena. That is where you'll be able to earn hype, which is where you're gauged and then placed into different levels of play. You can end up getting into contender, and then you're up into champion, which will allow you access to different tournaments depending on where you're ended up placing. All of these players have grinded to the highest level, which is that champion level, which then grants access to certain cash cups as well as the FNCS. Then you can compete in those open tournaments to try and make the final rounds, which guarantee qualifications into the heats. And then after these heats, which were played on Friday and Saturday, you get the grand final. So again, when we talk about that 0.001%, these players have done it all, and they're very much so at the top of the game. 74 left, so 1 point going down to everyone, and that includes Tayson.
It also includes Rifla as well as Reese on there. Thomas HD picking it up. Janice nearby as well. Thomas has got to be very careful here. If he is being a little bit too greedy, farming up a little bit too much too soon, he could start to go down as Janice is going to look to take him down. The builds are just not building there for him as he does take a lot of damage. 62 HP. He does have the RPG in his inventory, so he could turn that around if he gets the opportunity to, but he's got to be careful. Janice being aggressive. RPG out. It's going to hit the tree, but it doesn't do any damage. 27 HP. He's trying to side jump, but the ramp going to cut him off there as Janice continuing to pressure up. Thomas HD is getting WG'd, and Janice is going to be the one to take him out.
Thomas's attempt at a run will go down there. He was 12th trying to enter in here. We talked about it. We'd hyped him up. We'd shown just how good and accurate he could be, but ran into Janice there, the FNCS Invitational Champion, in a tough 1v1. Again, it would have been an outside chance looking in, but now there is no chance as his FNCS is over. He's just hoping he can hold on to whatever spot in the top 20 as he's going to drop down from where he is right now after only picking up a singular point there. But now back on board with Flois, who has that hunting rifle out. He's looking to catch a cheeky headshot here right around the corner.
Oh, he's setting it up. He's getting so close. He's waiting for the opportunity to get it, taking his time, and he does hit it, but it's a body shot, not a headshot. Unfortunately, that will give him the pressure, though, that he needs to do. He's got the crash pad, set it up into the box. He goes with that player new, and the diagonal box out going to come through, and Flois not able to capitalize on that elimination. He was so sneaky when it mattered the most, but unfortunately, only the body shot coming through from him, but he gets tagged up by a third party, and now the player he headshot, or the body shot rather, is gonna push him. It's going to be Kylix going aggressive, and Kylix needs elimination as well. Move into the upper echelon of prizing, and Flois is just looking to try to make a run here. Flois 23 HP, ticking down. Cashback comes through, and Kylix is gonna come out on top.
Tries to enter the bounce house, but unfortunately a little too much for that one. Got a little rowdy. They're going to kick you out. And it was Kylix who was the bouncer, pulling him out, ending his FNCS run. No attempt for heroics here from Flois, but peeking back on over. Again, Tayson, match number 5 winner, 26 points in that game overall. Currently had a 16-point game there. You can see Tayson now holds the largest lead between first and second all weekend so far, so it's just an act of holding on. And even then, if he goes down here, it's going to take a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10 to not only convert on a victory royale, but pick up a number of eliminations to even come close to matching that 12 elim victory royale we just saw. And currently sitting on 60 points, it looks like this might be a victory lap for him.
It looks that way indeed, but he's set up in a very awkward spot. He's got a player held out of zone. He's also got 2 players on the mountain behind him as Janice picking up another elimination there onto Sapphic. Tayson, though, is the story of the day. Can he hold the lead? The largest lead we've seen in between first and second, and he's looking to make it even larger here with this elimination, but someone else being a nuisance and shooting some shots over towards Kylix. Tayson not peeking, is waiting for the right time to make his move and to make that striking distance and close it. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be able to stay alive or get that elimination. There's Stacey now sitting in this box looking for the same amount of eliminations as he's going for shots all around players. He needs a miracle run. He needs, I believe, 21 total points, and so he could do it. We saw Tayson do it, but it would need to be an impressive game.
But again, don't forget, we've talked about it time and time again. It's not just the #1 spot. Yes, the AXA Champions and all that clout is great, but because Tayson is occupying so many of those points, everyone else who is in 2nd to 10th right now, each one of their interactions against each other is going to matter in terms of the placement, in terms of the money you end up walking away with. And also, man, 2nd sounds so much better than 8th or 7th or 6th, right? Like that battle for 2nd place and who can capitalize on this opportunity is still a huge moment. Going back and looking at the Solo World Cup, TSM's crew was able to go from 66 to 6 with a singular 7-game victory royale in the final moment. Will we see some similar heroics for somebody to charge up the leaderboard and push themselves in the top 5 while Tayson is just doing his best to avoid all conflict because he knows the longer he holds on, the more likely he is to raise that axe at the end.
And just a reminder, every place past 6th place is an increase of $10,000. So if you are a Slicks, if you are Rifla, if you are Deceptos, that's what you're looking for. Kylix is trying to get up in there as well, up until that gap in between first and second where it's about a $25,000 increase. There's still a lot of money on the line looking for these players to grab, and I'm very concerned right now. Kylix, with this hunting rifle, is shooting shots over to Tayson. This is not looking good. If Tayson does not get out of the situation, Kylix should get the snipe onto him, and the pressure is coming through. But will Kylix hit it? Will he hit the shot that will end Tayson's run? His shots are coming through, 129 effective HP in a very bad spot. Everybody knows he just got tagged up as well. Will he be W-keyed by Kylix here? The pressure come through, and Kylix is going in. The crash pad's going to be used, but Kylix is very low HP, 66 HP there. Tayson may be too aggressive here. He's got the hunting rifle. He could go for a little snipe there. If he does, it would need to be perfect. He's going to look for it. He's going to look for it. He takes him down. Tayson is down at 60 points.
Tayson smelt blood in the water with Kylix pinned against the outside of the zone, but Kylix says, let's open up the floodgates. Let's give the opportunity for somebody to have that heroic moment. Number 1 is down. I repeat, number 1 is down. E11's Tayson has been taken out at 60 points. That's the line we're looking at. Can anybody possibly catch him? Who's in the conversation? It's going to take the victory royale and much, much more. But all of a sudden, this game has so much more tension on it as the victory lap has been canceled early. He pulled up, and now can anybody else close that gap? Anas doing his best right there, picking up an elimination, but he has a long rotation to go before he gets into the zone.
And Cardin and Kazakhs are not going to let him get there easy. They're not going to let an easy rotate come out. So he does have crash pads and launch pads there. What's concerning for Anas is the amount of AR in his inventory. Now, if he knows that Tayson just went down, if the feed showed it, and he doesn't have that anonymous mode on, Anas is going to be very, very, very hungry for placement. He's just going to look to try to set up in a good spot, but right on the edge of zone, there's going to be players looking for you. And you see the quick edit. That's there. Going to protect him for a little bit, but he's running out of hard mats, and you see the wood being built there. He's got to be careful. Cardin setting up nearby as well. Question is his rifle still in a good spot to contend as well. There's so many players that are on the cusp of taking this game away from Tayson. It is going to be so, so close.
But don't forget, the line is 60 points, so while they're close, they need a lot. Tayson had a monumental performance in last game, and Anas is trying to double it up right now. We talk about it. It's going to take all the skill, a little bit of luck, and a bunch of execution, and right there, some good shots coming through, but not going to be able to find the loot afterwards. So who are we looking at who can potentially close it if they win the game? Rifle is in the conversation. Deceptos, Hen, Reason, Vadil, Snazy, Letwick, Frenzy, Fishy, and Anas. Any of those players, if they're still up, gaining eliminations and gaining points, are slowly going to be shrinking that gap. So keep an eye on the yellow numbers to the left of their name in their HP pool, as well as the top left for any of those guys going down or picking up points. Circle 4 is revealed, and pretty much everyone has already established themselves. So we're going to wait, and we're going to roll the dice and see where circle number 5, that half in, half out zone that triggers the initial use of utility, where does it pull? And which one of these key players can capitalize on the position and the opportunity they're given. This is the final game. There is 4 storm zones left after this. 52 players up. Number 1 is down. Can anybody catch him, or will Tayson's lead be enough to just barely edge him over the top? There's the zone on the far west side, Clay.
And Rifle has no mobility. He's got to make a play. Reminder, AR Baffo is right nearby Rifle. If he gets too aggressive and shoots a little bit too early, Baffo will strike. We've seen him hop out of cones into players' boxes to look for it. That is not good for Rifle. He needs to rotate soon. He's got to go up. Exactly. He's got to follow that path that was just built for him. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get capitalized. But Baffo's moving. Baffo's moving behind. Shots come through. Down to 131 HP. Rifle needs to get out of this one. Sniper is out. Baffo is rotating there as well. He realizes that crash pad going to be used. Or chug splash rather. He doesn't have any crash pads in his inventory. He's got to be careful he doesn't overpeak this. If a shot comes through that tags the shield, he's got nothing left there. 170 is going to find a launch pad. Is it enough? Is he getting a shot of the air? 114 shields are broken. Everybody knows. Taz go through and rifle is down. Number 2 is out of the game.
Twain's picking that one up, saying, no run for you, sir. You must be this tall to ride the ride, and you will go down. Frenzy Fishy picking up one, so he's going to start moving his way up the leaderboard. We're inside the top 50, so that's another placement point down. Everyone who's contending for Tayson getting those points, he did not. He went down outside of that threshold. Again, the line is 60. Can anybody cross it towards the end? It's up for grabs. If somebody in the top 10 can seize the moment and be the one to lift it up and deny the E11 player, the Slovenian Lord, that Axe of Champions. And right now, Air Bafo trying to find some space. The 5th zone is closing, which means we have the late game, the full moving coming right after that, and we're over sweaty sand. So tons of natural building in play, excess materials that can come out, but also weird rotational paths as Bafo pushes in, continuing with the aggressive play style and takes out Floppa Michael.
60 points is what everybody needs to be thinking about right now. That is the number that you need to break. You also need to pick up a victory royale if you're just going for 60. The 61 points is where you really need to be shooting. That is a very tall order to ask.
I mean, 61 realistically, too, because even with the Victory Royale, Tayson has the highest eliminations out of anybody in this tournament right now, so he owns that tiebreaker solidly. Now we're going to hop on board here with Deceptos, who's currently below Storm Surge, and we're actually going to need 14 players to drop, so that could end up coming into play with how fast this zone closes. If everybody prioritizes rotation, and with nobody wanting to drop, you could see that happen, but right now, Deceptos trying to find a pick. This is the final game of the EU FNCS. The final circles, 3 left. Number 1 player is down, and who can catch him? 61 points is what it will take to lift that axe and be the one who walks away with $80,000 in the end. And it's all about if you can catch Tayson.
And Deceptos 10 looking to do it. 42, 43 points each. They're very, very close. And now going up. But he doesn't have a lot of HP. He's going to need to find something. Crash pads being used, trying to build to keep a little bit of a mid-ground chart, but not going to be able to do it. Benji making a run to just try to separate his game and try to get as many placement points and move himself up the leaderboard as he can, because he's out of contention for the Action Champions. AR Bafo there as well. Mongrel in this game. Scram going down. Hen trying to make something happen. Janice going to go down. Mongrel going to fall, as well as Orange. Hen picks up another elimination. This could be his run as well, but it's going to be very, very close.
Storm Surge will turn off there as we have the top 30. Janice picking up an elim there. But Hen, if he wants the win, he needs to put his foot on the gas, right? The placement points aren't just enough. The Victory Royale isn't enough. We saw Tayson, he had 12 elims. Every one of those elims was a point that pushed him farther up. And while being still in the game gives you opportunities, if you want to seize the moment and you want to say you're best of the best, you have to go now. You have to be pushing people. You have to be converting on the points, because there's only 19 elimination points available right now. You have to start finding them. Top 20, so the placement points are ticking down right now. And Hen, completely out of builds, needs the elimination just for the refresher. He's doing his best, making this a platform game. Diving around, looping on the corner, finds the first shot, can't find the second, and he gets taken down. Top 15 taking over, and looking at the names of the lobby, I think only Frenzy Fishy has a chance, and I don't think he has enough elims this game going through. Tayson is going to be your FNCS solo champion, but it's about who can get that second place right now. If they're able to push forwards here, Deceptos theoretically could eliminate every single player in the lobby and go for it, but we talked about it. You have to be pushing the pace. Instead, he's saying, okay, I understand Tayson has that W. I know he's probably going to take the first spot, but if I can stay in this lobby, I'm going to pass other players. Everyone else has gone down, and now he's dropping in 112 on the first one, but he gets walled off. 35 HP, uses the crash pad, but he goes up vertically and not into the box. Top 10, and another point ticks over. Deceptos goes down with 49. Now it's all about pride, the final Victory Royale, in beating the person next to you, getting a little bit more of a payday in the final game here.
And Bafo could get that. He's at 40 points. We saw Deceptos go down with 49. This could be a second place run for Bafo. The Strokey trying to make something happen there as well. 4 eliminations here for AR Bafo. Eliminations coming through all around for Shoki on that high ground. Looking to break his way on down. Shots coming through for Shoki down very, very low. Has to box on up. Twain's doing that. Nade dropping down. Bafo trying to just make something happen. 100 effective HP. 5 builds there for them. For Shoki getting tagged up there by Twain. Shots coming through. He's trying to hit him, but he's not going to make it. No, he does. Elimination comes through. Bafo trying to make something happen as well. Dropping down to the outside. Going around the boxes. Is going to find some loot. Is he going to fall there to zone? Bafo with 4 eliminations. Looking again to get number 5, number 6, and number 7 as more people are falling. And Bafo clutches up the last elimination for the Victory Royale. But I don't think he's going to get second. I think he's going to take third.
What a huge push from Bafo at the end. We talked about it, how every interaction will matter. And while E11's Tayson is the best player in Europe for this season, walking away with the AXA champions, the 80 grand, and all of the clout, Bafo takes game number 6. He'll rocket himself up the leaderboard. He'll earn a nice little payday in the clutch moments, and you can see there just how good Tayson was today. 22 eliminations, averaging a placement of 27th, but the big one, Clay, was that 12 elimination Victory Royale in game number 5.
What an insane way to secure yourself that number 1 spot. It was dicey towards the end, but I think we all knew that Tayson just had to stay alive just a little bit, and he did that, and he walks away with the victory.
We talked about it specifically. It would need a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10, but instead a heroic effort from Bafo, who was 26 before that. But where will he end up on the final leaderboards? We're going to throw it back on over to Zeke, Bala, and Shayo to close this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Sundown Clay, absolutely incredible casting of the day. You guys were so on point with these calls. I mean, it did come down to the wire. And for sure, Tayson is the FNCS champion. And now will walk away with the Axe of Champions. Now, of course, big props. But now we take a little bit of a turn here and look at everyone else. Second between fifth, because placing up there is a pretty considerable amount of money.
Yeah, and to get there, how things were, all the way till the final second, the final shot, the top 10 switched up. So, looking at what it is now, after Game 6, after this grueling process for Europe is over, it's Tayson at the top spot, 60 points, $80,000. At 10th is Anas still holding on, $7,000 for him, 41 points. But look at the names in between.
There's so much to break down on this page. First off, of course, Tayson winning, and Janice had won the last invitation. That is his former duo partner, so they've got to be feeling good after back-to-back, basically, championships from them. Tayson at 60 points, but DeCipto's held on. That final moment, it looked like he was going to go for it, but unfortunately, he fell just a little short, but enough to propel himself and hold on to that second place. And then in third, this was the man who rose up in the final game, 19 points. He was way below, Sundown said, 26th place. He went from $2,000 earned that you can see basically on this page all the way up to $45,000.
That is such a huge boost. And also, to boot, AR Bafo, DeCiptos, Twains, people in the top 10, 2 of them, second and third place. This is their first Grand Finals appearance, and what a big appearance and a performance it was. Like, man, no practice in these types of lobbies, no real experience on the big stage, and they pulled that out? Unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely, but it was a battle all the way through. Vadil, Nate, Letwick. Letwick did so well in those early moments, but unfortunately falls out of the top 10. Still, solid performance from all these guys. Qualifying for the Grand Finals and then getting up to this top 20 is definitely something to be proud of. And there were so many moments that we remember from these guys, from Mongrel throughout the season, from Snipe today in the Grand Finals, from Flois in that very first game. He owns that 21st spot. $2,500 earned from him.
Yeah, these guys had such amazing memories made in the heats. One person here today as well who had a win, Slender. I feel like he's one of my favorite players coming out of Europe that I really haven't been able to watch before. He showed us his prowess in every single stage of the tournament, especially in Grand Finals with that win that he had. $2,500, 24th place, and a few points to boot. Very good performance from him.
And just generally, great performances across the board. You know, we cannot stress this enough. This is the top 100 players in the region. They have the bragging rights. They are allowed to say, I made it to the grand finals of the FNCS. After a grueling gauntlet, I stood at the top. Now, of course, Tayson will hold the axe of champions for now, but for everyone else here, they can truly say they are the cream of the crop.
And I think one thing that these guys are going to look forward to now is the solo season wraps for EU. Obviously, they're going to, watch the rest of this too, because we got NA East coming up next with some very interesting storylines too. But for now, they get to take a breather, relax a little bit as we head up into the next FNCS season or whatever comes after that, because I know people are excited.
Yep, and now we're looking at how things look after the heats in a top 100 stack lobby in a region that's what people say is the best to watch, the best to see. So definitely going to see the changes over in NA East, and definitely going to take a slight breather to see and catch up on those games too.
Well, Shy put it best. Guys, that's it for Europe, but don't forget we are back later to wrap up NA East and crown an FNCS champion there. Till then, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.